Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be visiting my PlantCon 2025 Orlando plant haul. I know that this has been a long-awaited video that I promised the Grow Fold plant foldy community that I would actually make from PlantCon in Orlando. I just happened to get that time to make it finally. Please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely pushes out this video to more plant lovers like yourself. I would love to see this community grow, and I know that in my most recent video, I did do an April Fool's joke. So for those that did not watch that video, just know I will not be leaving Instagram or YouTube at any point because I love this community. If you get a chance, also please make sure you are following me on Instagram. That is the fastest and most direct way to get in touch with me if you have any questions about the plants. But you can see right here, I'm actually showing you a couple of Aglaonema that I looked at while I was out at PlantCon 2025 in Orlando. These are actually Aglaonema from the land of Alice. You can see right over here, that is an Aglaonema Kazania. I believe this is an Aglaonema frozen or lucky. It's only for $30. And when you look at my plant haul, you will understand why I am really talking about Aglaonema. When I went to PlantCon in Orlando, I was talking to a lot of the people that were out there wanting to buy plants. And whenever I mentioned Aglaonema, a lot of people were really baffled that I was so into these gorgeous plants. But needless to say, I am always a fan of the underdog. I believe these colorful, easy to care for plants need to be a trending plant, not only because they are beautiful, but they're also unique, they're also cost effective, and they're easy to grow. So why would you not want to add something in your plant collection that would be as beautiful as these? Definitely check out Land of Alice on their website or Etsy shop. She can ship to you guys as well. And then I will show you some more of my plant haul here, but you can just get a preview of some of the plants that I did get. I mean, this is one that is a wish list plant of mine. This is an Aglaonema Red Army. You can see that that is another beautiful plant. And you know, to really sum up PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, I would just say it was really good vibes only. There was a lot of really friendly plant lovers, amazing plant vendors. Every single plant vendor that was at PlantCon, thank you so much for putting all of that hard work and effort to growing these gorgeous plants. There is a lot that is placed into these plants, so I really want everybody to be always mindful about supporting local and small businesses whenever you are thinking about buying plants, because the amount of effort that these nurseries place to create these plants and just to grow them and have them available is just amazing to me. And then you can see over here again, just so many Aglaonemas. And you know, it's really funny that I had that conversation with Alice about just the amount of people that kind of overlook Aglaonemas. So today on my plant haul for PlantCon 2025 Orlando, Florida, I hope you guys will not swipe away or click away because of the plants I actually bought from PlantCon 2025. I know that it may not necessarily be the popular Anthurium hybrids or the variegated monsteras or anything of that nature. If you've gotten to know me, I am the type of person that wants to go against the grain. So you can see right here, the majority of my plant haul came from Art Garden Flowers, and this was actually the final day of PlantCon. You can see that I am actually putting all of the plants in my suitcase and also in my hand carry backpack. This plant right here was an Aglaonema Velvet. That one was actually bought from Valcaria Gardens in Florida. The person that sold it to me was Sir Clay, who happens to be the original hybridizer of the Aglaonema White Rain, which was what we often see at big box stores. But you can see I had 2 hand carries. Thankfully, Art Garden Flowers was able to actually pack all of my plants. You will see me unbox these in just a sec. And I really packed a lot of plants. I have never flown domestically with plants, so I was a tad bit nervous that maybe some of these plants would not get through security, but thankfully, you know, you can fly with plants domestically to another state. So I'm flying back to to Texas. I am based out of North Dallas. And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. You can see that I am going to be leaving the Orlando International Airport and just super excited to show you my plant haul. Hopefully you will leave some comments and hopefully you will buy from the sellers that I bought plants from. And you know I have to show you some more Aglaonema. Lots of Aglaonema chatter. So hopefully I can keep you guys engaged because that is my favorite plant to grow. You can see that that is an Aglaonema spring snow with a Ficus livrata over here. You can really tell that you are in Florida with all of the indoor tropical plants just growing wildly, whether it is outdoors or even at the airport right over here. And I really had a good time at PlantCon 2025. But before we get into that, plant foldies, have you ever heard of this new soil called Classy Rabbit, which is from a local small business out in McKinney, Texas? Really excited to share with you this new soil, which is 100% organic. What I love about it is that this is a standalone type soil. You don't have to mix orchid bark or other amenities that actually make this soil chunky. It is already chunky, light, and fast draining. You can use it to improve your existing soil. What I also like about it is they are made by farmers, so they don't really consult like soil scientists or whatever that means. They really know what Mother Nature has in the soil. And what I like about it is I've been able to pot up a lot of my plants from overseas and they have really acclimated to this soil. I love the fact that again it is 100% organic, and the ingredients that we have would be rabbit manure, composed food waste, pine bark chips, mycorrhizae, dried molasses, pumice, and expanded shale, rice hulls, and yucca extract. So all of those ingredients really make this soil. It is balanced, and what I love about it is Classy Rabbit products are simple where it counts, smart where they matter. So that means all of the ingredients that the soil needs, it's right there. They don't need to add anything else, and they don't offer anything that they don't need. I also love the fact that Classy Rabbit is priced well, where it's a happy medium between the low prices of cheap, and when I say cheap, quality, and the high prices of unnecessary ingredients. It kind of balances it both. And if you see right here, I potted this Aglaonema up in a terracotta planter. You can see how fast draining it is as I put a bunch of water into the soil. You can see that it is literally just draining through, but just because it's fast draining, it doesn't mean that it doesn't retain moisture. It definitely does. But I love the fact that I don't have to worry about adding any perlite, because this particular soil doesn't have perlite. It has all natural ingredients. So for those that have never heard about Classy Rabbit, please go to classyrabbit.com. I highly endorse this soil. I love it so much. And even though I've been doing semi-hydroponic substrates like Lechuza Pond and Leca, I've actually been converting all of my plants back to soil because of this particular soil. They do offer free shipping at classyrabbit.com. Let me know in the comment section if you're interested, and hopefully you will support Classy Rabbit. I mean, have you pooped on your plants lately? I would. Rabbit was actually one of the sponsors for PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida. So you can see I made it back home to Dallas, Texas. Please follow Instagram at artgarden.flowers. This is actually my haul from Art Garden Flowers. It is actually from my friend Ricky, who is actually based out in Indonesia. So a lot of my plants were actually sourced from overseas. Super excited, and that's what makes PlantCon places to go to get plants that are from overseas. You don't necessarily have to worry about the importing because it is taken care of through a broker. So as you can see right here, I was able to pre-order a lot of these plants. What's awesome about Art Garden Flowers is that Ricky is able to send plants to Florida through a broker, and you don't have to worry about all of the import licensing and permits, because that is taken care of on on their end. So if there are Indonesian sellers, I think they can potentially partner with Art Garden Flowers. With PlantCon in Houston happening, you already know I'm going to be getting Aglaonema. So the first one right here is an Aglaonema Red Nancy, and look at how stunning this plant is. I will tell you, it is a lot more cost effective to get these plants from overseas whenever you attend a show like PlantCon. And you know, Art Garden Flowers was one of the first international sellers that we've seen out in these plant shows. And if you actually look at a lot of the plant shows that are popping up, most recently it's becoming a little bit more popular. But I would say the major plant shows I have attended would be PlantCon, obviously, as well as the Texas Aeroid Show. So shout out to both shows. Lots of effort is placed not only through the vendors, but also the sponsors, also the attendees, and just everybody that's involved in a plant show. And then also the ones that actually grow the plants, wherever they get it sourced out. So I'm so thankful for that. But as you can see right here, the first one is an Aglaonema Red Nancy. Absolutely stunning plant. And look at how viable the roots are. You know, this one is another Aglaonema that I've been really wanting to get. These are the Aglaonemas that have not made it to the US market. And this is the reason why, in my heart, in my soul, I truly, truly believe, and call me crazy, but I believe that you are the ones that are able to create the trends. You are the plant influencer that can actually get these plants trending. So don't always follow the trending plants. I think that plants become trending because we talk about it. We post about it on social media. We use hashtags. We share about it. And my intent for today's video, my plant haul video, is to hashtag popularize Aglaonema. I think it's actually a cooler route to be that one person that whenever they ask you, hey, what is your favorite plant? And you say Aglaonema, and there is this baffled look like, why? I think that that's so much cooler than to say, hey, I'm into XYZ plants. You already know, insert in the comment section which plants I'm talking about that are trending. But as you can see right over here, plant foldies, Aglaonema lipstick Peter Pan. So this is different than the lipstick Greg, and you can see that is my actual name is Richard, but I go by Richie. Now you can see that there are some roots over here, but I'm not really worried about it because I will be using Classy Rabbit soil to actually pot up these plants in a soil substrate, which I actually think is going to make these Aglaonemas acclimate a little bit easier. So stay tuned for that at the very end of the video, but that is my next Aglaonema that I posted in terms of my plant haul. To give some huge recognition to Ricky. He is such an awesome person to talk to. The fact that he has a full-fledged nursery out in Indonesia and was able to get me these plants in such great shape. You have to think all of these plants flew thousands of miles into a plant show, have been in some type of cargo, and they're still coming out here looking really good. You can see right here, this is an Aglaonema Gajah, I think that's how you pronounce it. While there might be just some slight yellowing on the leaves, I'm not really concerned with that because, again, whenever you think about these plants that are from overseas, there is a process. Not all of the plants from overseas will always come into your possession in perfect shape, and there is an acclimation period. So you can't just order a plant from overseas and think that it's just going to grow perfectly for you. It could take a month or two for it to really bounce back from all of the stress it takes. However, being able to obtain plants from overseas is going to actually grow your collection a little bit more diversely because you're not going to be able to see a lot of these plants. I mean, if you're going to throw out a big box store plant nursery like Costa Farms, the reason why a lot of people even know about colorful Aglaonema is Costa Farms, for instance, was able to produce and have those in the masses, but we we have yet to see these amazing plants from Indonesia like this. This is an Aglaonema little lemon, and take a look at this. Yes, there is some, leaves that have died off, but I'm not as concerned about that. And again, I would say for anybody that's ever going to get plants from overseas, just know that there is always going to be a risk where the plant may not make it, and it's not about the seller. So do not blame the seller. I would say just know that there is a risk when buying plants from overseas. I wouldn't put it on the seller. I would just say sometimes circumstance just happens to happen where it's not always the best case for the plant. Sometimes it is the weather that the plants actually travel through. Sometimes it could be being stuck in the mail longer than it needs to be. So there's a lot of factors. And then some plants don't ship well. I will say Aglaonema ship fairly well, and that's the reason why if you look at my YouTube video, and for those that have just discovered my YouTube channel through PlantCon videos, I do urge you to check out my playlist to really explore my channel. There is an amazing plant community called the Plant Foldies that tune in every day, 7:30 p.m. or 7 p.m. Central Standard United States time to chat about plants. We are really trying to popularize Aglaonema, so use the hashtag popularize Aglaonema and post your Aglaonema pictures. But as you can see right here, this is just some of my plant haul from PlantCon 2025 in Orlando. So excited to share with you that. And if you see how they actually packaged this, it made it so easy for me to be able to just fly on a domestic flight back to North Dallas and have these plants arrive. And actually, I didn't even do the unboxing until a day later. And so these plants have been sitting here in these cardboard containers for a little while. You can see this one is an Aglaonema Red Stardust. And while there was some Aglaonema Red Stardust available from Valkaria Gardens, which you will also see a plant haul from that nursery, I did want to go ahead and just buy an Aglaonema Red Stardust. Highly recommend shopping from shopping from Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. Send a direct message to Ricky. Please definitely follow him on Instagram. I definitely want to promote his business. And a lot of times I do these reviews because I really want to create more awareness about some of these sellers. So if you are a plant seller and you want me to promote some of your plants, definitely feel free to reach out to my Instagram page at GrowFolds. I will definitely showcase your plants to the plant community, the Plant Foldies. But you can see right over here, Aglaonema Red Stardust. This one just has a little bit of damage. I assume that the yellow leaf or two will fall off, and I'm okay with that because what I'm going to do is later on in the video I'm going to show you how I pot up these plants further down into the pot, so that way they become a little bit less leggy. The thing about Aglaonema is once they establish, they're able to push out little baby pups, which makes the plant a little bit more full. Super excited to actually show Classy Rabbit soil, and the reason why I'm very passionate about Classy Rabbit soil, I'm actually not officially sponsored by Classy Rabbit. I just want to see local businesses out in the North Dallas area succeed. McKinney based business, so really excited to see that. And I hope you guys will also go to classyrabbit.com. They do offer free shipping for their soil, so definitely check that out. And then you can see right here another Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema Ayundi. I like this Aglaonema because look at this. It's definitely red. It's got a darker maroon red, but if you notice, it actually has some green veining on it. And here's the thing about Aglaonema. So I already know a lot of you guys are like, why Aglaonema? I could ask the same question about why anthuriums. Anthuriums, a lot of people are into it because you can hybridize them, crossbreed them, and it's a little bit more of a process where you can come up with another variety of anthuriums. Did you know that Aglaonema are the same thing? However, I believe Aglaonema are a lot more challenging to hybridize because the process is literally a labor of love. It takes in Aglaonema at least 6 months to actually be ready to pollinate, and then it takes another year for the seeds to actually germinate. It takes an entire year, so it is a long process, but it is a process that is super rewarding. And I'm just really excited to see a lot of these hybrids coming out from Indonesia, Thailand, and of course my family's home country, which is the Philippines. Mabuhay. And you can see that these Aglaonema, again, you're not going to be able to walk into a grocery store, a big box store, and find these types of plants. And I'm just really happy that I'm able to go to PlantCon to be able to source this out. I do intend to go to PlantCon in Houston with the Plant Podcast show that I'm part of called Cultivation Corner. Please search us on YouTube, Cultivation Corner. It is with my friends Janae Simone and Steven of I Live Plants. We all love Aglaonema. We all want to hashtag popularize Aglaonema. You can see right over here, Aglaonema Ayundi. You can see that it's got some really strong roots right here. The roots are definitely viable, very healthy looking roots. I'm going to pull off some of the dead leaves, however, and what I do with all of the plants that I receive from overseas is I definitely want to unbox them, and I definitely want to spray them with the Plant Foldy mist spray that I use. It's basically a combination of cold press organic neem oil spray, rubbing alcohol, and hydrogen peroxide. While these plants have to go through a rigorous process of being disinfected to make sure that there are no plant pests, any plants that you receive from overseas, you definitely don't want to get any that has soil. That is illegal. So you will always see plants from overseas, at least the ones that come here legally, in either a sphagnum moss or bare root. So just keep that in mind. But I like to actually disinfect my plants even further, just for further measure, because you got to think they are traveling. These plants were at a plant show, so they were exposed to other plants. Not to say that there were any plant pests or anything that wasn't healthy at PlantCon. However, there are a lot of people around, so you never know what kind of pests could be around the plants. That's why whenever I get any new plant, whether it's from overseas or whether I bought it at a Walmart, Lowe's, Target, or Home Depot, when you go big box store plant shopping, it's very important to spray your plants down with either an insecticidal soap that you can buy at a local nursery or big box store, or better yet, go the organic route and use cold pressed neem oil spray. So you can see right here, Aglaonema wuduri konon. This is another beautiful red Aglaonema, and this Aglaonema has just a little bit of damage right over here. But again, that's perfectly normal. A lot of us have these high expectations about receiving plants in the mail. Just know that it's definitely not on the seller if the plant doesn't come to you in perfect condition, because you have to think, especially when it comes to international plants being received in the United States, the plant had to be uprooted from a perfect tropical environment. It was growing in some type of soil substrate, and now it's in bare root. It travels thousands of miles away. There had to be certain chemicals to clean the plant, to kind of dry out the roots. So all that being said, if a plant comes to you in perfect condition, that's amazing. That's a miracle. But oftentimes there will be some cosmetic damage coming from the plant. Does that mean the plant was poorly grown? Absolutely not. I can tell you that with Riki Art Garden Flowers, I was able to request a photo of the actual plant that I was going to receive, which not a lot of sellers will be willing to do. And this is the reason why, building rapport with the sellers. And, for somebody that has received plants from overseas, you have to be very mindful. You have to really vet out the seller, because there are some people that can scam you for money, or, get you a plant that you were not expecting. So, as an air of caution, always be weary about who you're buying plants from, where the source of the plant is from, Was it from a viable source? And just really do your research. And that's the reason why for me, I'm very comfortable buying from Ricky Art Garden Flowers on Instagram, because I have seen him on multiple plant shows. I have talked to Ricky. He actually has a US based team here. Shout out to Becca and the team. You guys are amazing. And I was just really, very much impressed with the whole process. But you can see right here, Aglaonema wooderi Konon. And, for those that are also new to this channel, I tend to talk a lot. I have been told that I'm a little bit more repetitive and, I just talk your ear off. So be prepared for me to just really give you detailed insights. Some people will mention that I'm, quote, a plant influencer. I wouldn't necessarily call myself, quote, a plant influencer. I am just somebody that wants to share my experiences, my personal knowledge that I have learned through those experiences, and hopefully you can find some value in it. Now, obviously, if this information isn't really value added for you, totally understand, but at least you can see what kind of plants you can possibly source out whenever you go to PlantCon 2025. I could have made a lot of short, cute reels. I could have made some interesting, fun reels, but for me, when it comes down to promoting a show like PlantCon 2025, it is all about the plants, number one. Number two, it is all about the vendors. Can we say that if you bought a plant from a vendor, please make sure you are following them on their Instagram pages or social medias. Talk about their plants. Celebrate that these vendors work so hard for us to get these plants. And so, that's really a lot of my insights. I have a lot of opinions when it comes to these major plant shows. And for me, especially somebody that is creating social media content, utilize these platforms obviously for positivity, education, awareness, celebration, and community. Those are really the things I want to make sure that my community, the Plant Foldies, always upholds, because there's also a lot of that negativity when it comes to the plant community, right? There's a lot of that toxicity. There's a lot that happens on social media, but I really do believe that utilizing YouTube videos, making social media content can really be a good, a source, a force for good is what I'm saying, a force for good. And hopefully through you guys seeing me showcase some of Art Garden Flowers and some of the other vendors I purchased from, you guys will be willing to support those businesses and really celebrate those plants. You can see right here, Aglaonema Orange Stardust. And I have to think of one of my Plant Foldy viewers, subscribers, Planty Buds. He is all about these Aglaonema. I know you are trying to source out an Aglaonema Stardust. This is a beautiful plant, and you can see I am just trying to get as much of the sphagnum moss off of these plants before I end up watering them and cleaning them up. Now, whenever you buy a plant from overseas, you do want to give it what you call the hydration process, where they have to rehydrate. So I will be leaving these plants in a Super Thrive nutrient solution for a good 72 hours. That way they can actually acclimate and rehydrate before I plant them in a soil substrate. But absolutely stunning, Aglaonema Orange Stardust. Here's another thing I will say about Aglaonema plant care. They are marketed as a plant that is low light tolerant. The keyword is tolerant. It does not mean the plant is going to thrive in a lower light condition. It means that it can survive. It can live in it. It's probably going to have slower growth. It's probably not going to have the best coloration, but it can tolerate lower light conditions. It is also drought tolerant, meaning it can tolerate a little bit more of underwatering. And for me, those two types of characteristics for a plant make that plant an easy care plant. You don't have to worry so much about watering the plant frequently. Honestly, that is the fastest way to send an Aglaonema to plant heaven, is when you actually overwater the plant. And as far as Aglaonema, they like to be in fast draining soil that does not retain a lot of moisture, because the Aglaonema is actually known to root rot. Things I have learned about Aglaonema that make them not as easy of a plant as you would think is they're very susceptible to mold or yeah, that, like mold or fungal infections, bacterial infections, where basically you will look at the leaf and the leaf becomes mushy and brown, and you don't know what's going on with that. That is like a bacterial infection. So what I've had to do to make sure that the plant is clean is, number one, to not overwater it or have a lot of moisture around it. Aglaonema don't really need a lot of humidity either. Actually, humidity can actually increase the chances of bacterial or fungal infections. I would actually spray your aglaonemas with a diluted water and hydrogen peroxide spray. Hydrogen peroxide is very beneficial for the plant. If you were to do that, you definitely want to make sure it's a diluted solution, and you definitely want to make sure after spraying your aglaonema that it is not put in a bright light. Let it actually soak all of that in, and don't put it in direct light for at least 24 hours. But yeah, so those are some of my insights. But as you can see right here, here's another Aglaonema BML Gerhana. And this one actually is one that I have been wanting to get for a while. I've seen this offered at Etsy, but for, really expensive pricing. So the prices I paid for through Reiki were really cost effective, considering, number one, again, I didn't have to worry about having to get an import license or a phytosanitary certificate. They took care of that through their brokerage. And you can just see that I am able to find these plants. Now you can see the roots are a little bit dehydrated, but look at the leaves. This one is a large foliage leaf. Look at how beautiful the stripes are on this particular plant. One thing I do want to eventually venture out into is actually hybridizing and creating my own Aglaonema varieties. I will be learning how to do that through Sir Clay of Valcaria Gardens. He is another Filipino American that I got to talk to. I was so excited to be able to meet the man behind an actual Aglaonema cultivar. It's kind of like meeting somebody like Doc Block, for instance, through anthuriums. And I just didn't expect to run into Sir Clay at PlantCon 2025. And that's the reason why, again, if you are thinking about going to PlantCons, definitely do that, because it is definitely worth it. The amount of people you will meet, the types of plants you will run into, and just the connections and memories that you will create through making that leap into a PlantCon is absolutely worth it. Now over here, as I finish unboxing some of these videos, you'll see that there is a couple of dead leaves here. I am really not worried about that, because the majority of the plant is still super healthy. I think a lot of us become super critical, and oftentimes we blame the seller for a plant not being perfect. I would say, there might be some care that, a plant seller needs to make sure that they do. But overall, I understand that, a plant that comes from overseas, several thousands of miles away, and then just a process of, being able to be pest free, it goes through a lot. And, this Aglaonema Amber, which I actually bought one from PETA's Planters a little while back, I ended up wanting to buy another one because this one actually has very large, colorful leaves. So the thing about Aglaonema, some Aglaonemas have more dwarf variety. Some of them can have massive leaves. This is one that would have massive leaves. And, kudos to whoever packaged these plants and made sure that they were securely fastened and packaged to make it out to me. My Aglaonema collection is growing very much at a rapid pace. There was a plant podcast episode on the Cultivation Corner called, Plant Addictions. Legit, I will say I do have a plant addiction. I am finding ways to regulate that plant addiction. Oftentimes, we make light of it, but it can be a serious thing where some people are spending tons of money. Luckily, I haven't gotten to that point where I'm just spending an entire mortgage on plants every month. So, that's something that I could talk about later on in a future episode. But as far as my plant haul, hopefully you can see that this is the process of just acclimating the plants, potting them up, and really just enjoying them. But you can see these are all healthy plants. If you're going to get plants from overseas, you really need to inspect the roots. That's really the most important part. This one right here has some very strong, viable roots. And, I'm very confident that these plants will eventually acclimate in my space with the Classy Rabbit Chunky soil mix that you will see me pot up up and promote at the latter part of this video. If you made it this far into the video, again, plant foldies, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push that content out. Now, as you can see right here, I've gotten all of the plants unboxed from the Art Garden Flowers through Riki. I still have other plants from other sellers I will show you on the plant haul, so you can see that I spent quite a bit of money and also bought quite a bit of plants. I still can't believe that I actually was able to fly with all of these plants on a domestic flight. But the next process is literally making sure I'm cleaning the roots. So I actually made my DIY plant foldy mist solution, where it's basically a spray bottle, a conventional spray bottle that I fill up with water, and I use 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil, 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, 91% strength, 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, a drop of Dawn dish liquid soap, shake, 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 spray it on the plants, and I end up just spraying them down, and then I'm letting it sit on the plant for maybe 5 minutes. I even spray down the roots, and then what I do is I'll rinse them. So you'll just see me do that process. That's just one way for me to basically enhance the protection of the plant and to make sure that the plant is pest free. And also, if there's any fungal or anything of that nature, the hydrogen peroxide and the rubbing alcohol will help it. The cold pressed neem oil will also become like a shield or a plant preventative from potential plant pests like spider mites, mealybugs, and thrips. So that's what I do. I just spray down the plants with this solution, and then I just rinse out the roots, because you don't want all of that solution to stay onto the roots, but I will leave the majority of the foldy mist spray on the actual leaves as a protection. So definitely watch this process, and then we'll move on to the next. And you can see plant foldies that I like to clean as I go. So you can see that my space right here, I'm using my sink, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend using your sink to clean your plants or water your plants, but I'm willing to take that risk. Hopefully I don't clog up my sink. I do have a very good, what is it? I have got a really good, I'm trying to think, garbage disposal. There you go. See, I'm just so excited about looking at these plants. Sometimes I just, and forget my thoughts. But yes, my garbage disposal is pretty good. But as you can see right here, I'm getting the large leaf Aglaonema cleaned up. You can see that the bottom of the roots are really getting clean. I've had the foldy mist on it. And like I said, again, it's very important that if you're going to get plants from overseas, that you know the process of acclimation. You also know the fact that there are some potential risks that these plants may not necessarily make it. I mean, right now they look beautiful, but you never know if they will actually decline in health. And that's really because the plant is really trying to acclimate and de-stress. A lot of these plants that are imported from overseas end up getting through a lot of stress. And so you want to give it the best growing environment. I would say giving them bright indirect light, putting them in a soil substrate that is definitely going to help promote root growth and really get that plant going. I just am just really happy again to be able to see that these are plants here. And then you can see plant foldies. Now I've got all of these plants cleaned up and ready to go. What I'm going to do next is make sure that these plants are put into a nutrient solution. So you can see these are the plants that are now clean. You can see that the neem oil has actually given them a nice leaf shine. Super healthy roots, again, from Art Garden Flowers. What I'm going to do next, after I show you some of these Aglaonema that I got from overseas from Art Garden Flowers. Thank you again so much, Riki Taramikasi. I love all of these Aglaonemas right over here. They're going to be going into a nutrient solution. So basically it is just me putting some Super Thrive in some water, and I'm going to be putting them in some glass containers and letting the roots sit there for about 72 hours before I actually plant them up in a soil substrate. It's very important that you actually put these gorgeous Aglaonema or any plant from overseas to rehydrate. So at least you guys will be learning how I acclimate plants from overseas. Hopefully this video has been value added for you. And if you haven't already, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. And I did ask the question, have you ever hit the dislike button for a YouTube video or just any post? And my next question is, did you really have to hit the dislike button? I asked that question on my April Fool's video and gave my explanations as to why that's not necessary, especially for those content creators who really work hard to make this content. So I'm just really curious. Feel free to leave that in the comment section. But as far as the plants and my plant haul from my shopping at PlantCon 2025 Orlando, Florida, super excited to show you these Aglaonema. I definitely have way more plants to show you, so this is a long playing video where I go into detail about my plant haul. It's not anything that I'm making any funny videos or something super cute. It's really meant to be a little bit more educational, more dialogue, conversation driven. So if you have any questions about the plants, and know that I have answers, or at least we'll find answers for you. So definitely take a look at that plant haul of mine so far. If you are interested in joining me on my campaign to hashtag popularize Aglaonema, please tag me on Instagram at GrowFold. Use the hashtag popularize Aglaonema. Let's get these plants trending, because these are the plants that you will not see at a big box store. More so, you won't even really see a lot of local sellers in the United States being able to offer these gorgeous plants. And this is the reason why I am forever grateful to Ricky of Art Garden Flowers for sourcing these gorgeous Aglaonema from Indonesia. I plan to buy even more plants from him, as well as Green Spaces ID. These two international vendors will be at PlantCon Houston. They are confirmed and very excited for it. There's another seller called Live with Plants, my friend Sarut, who was able to get me a gorgeous Aglaonema that I will show in just a second. But this Aglaonema right here was actually from Mike's Nursery, who is actually another seller that has extremely rare plants. He was the one that brought the Aglaonema White Monster or White Devil in at PlantCon, but I was able to get an Aglaonema hybrid as well as another Aglaonema variegated Golden Bay, which I will show you in a soil substrate. This one right here, he was kind enough to take a cutting and separate from the mother plant and sell me it for a really good price. I ended up paying $50 for that, but that is a really good price for that Aglaonema. And then I also got an Aglaonema Airplane, which is basically a variegated Aglaonema Silver Bay. Thank you so much, Sarut Kapungka, for this Aglaonema right here. So that is part of my plant haul. Hopefully you guys have liked what you've seen so far. And then I'm going to show you in the next part of this video how I pot these up, and also pot up some of my other Aglaonema and plants that I received from PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Know you're winning when you have amazing roots on these plants. Super excited, and I'm actually just really excited that I'm able to make long format PlantCon videos to really promote PlantCon. I feel like there's a lot of short form content in terms of Instagram Reels and TikTok, so I kind of want to differentiate myself in terms of being a content creator and giving you that long format video where I can give you some open dialogue, some conversation, and more time to look at these amazing plants. Aglaonema are the best plants in the world, in my humble opinion, and I hope that you guys can hashtag popularize these Aglaonema and check out the rest of my plant haul video.
Hey guys, I'm Janae from Janae Simone.
I'm Steve from I Love Plants.
And I am Richie from GrowFold, and we are
Cultivation Corner. We are so excited. We have a plant podcast. We talk about any and everything, all things plants, and we premiere every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube at cultivation_corner. So be sure to tune in and watch us.
Follow us also on Instagram, and be sure to share our videos and our episodes with all of you plant lovers. We need more cultivators, right,
Yes.
Steve?
Yes, we do. So what are you going to do? You're going to share the video.
You have
what
to.
you're gonna
You
do.
have to. Today. All right, guys.
Today.
We'll see you on the next one.
All right.
So while I was able to make some great friends at PlantCon, please follow at Valkyria Gardens on Instagram. So I met an amazing person by the name of Clay. I call him Sir Clay just to show him respect. He is another Filipino American kababayan, and he happened to actually have Aglaonema available for sale. And I just happened to get to know him, and he told me that he was actually the original hybridizer of the Aglaonema White Rain. You can actually see several Florida nurseries and big box stores actually growing and selling the Aglaonema White Rain. And he offered to send me the Aglaonema hard book, cover book of all these different types of Aglaonemas, Aglaonema Care, and he sent it to me as a present. And I did want to shout out Sir Clay of Valkyria Gardens. Thank you so much. Maraming salamat salamat po for really just sharing your knowledge, being super humble to share your book with us in terms of just learning more about Aglaonema. To me, it is all about that gift of kindness and the kindness he showed me. He happened to actually bring more Aglaonema hybrids that he was able to get from Thailand. He's actually friends with Sarut of Live with Plants. So just getting to know these two individuals at PlantCon was super exciting. But the fact that there is an actual Aglaonema hardcover book, I think it's amazing. The book that he sent me for free was The Amazing Aglaonema by Frank Brown Ed, Houseplant to the World. That is the actual book. Not sure if this is still available for purchase. Definitely leave in the comment section if you'd be interested in purchasing this. This was published by Valkaria Tropical Gardens, 4263 Corey Road, Valkaria, Florida, 32950 USA. So definitely check out his garden center. But I have read this book from cover to cover, and it's super exciting. I wanted to actually show you how I pot up these plants using the Classy Rabbit soil. This one is an Aglaonema Kanzania that I bought from 365 Hydroponics, and I will tell you, 365 Hydroponics, the ladies over there had nothing but love, nothing but good vibes only. I walked away from PlantCon with that mindset of only good vibes only. So if you are a follower or somebody that has watched my YouTube channels, you already know I have no tolerance when it comes to negativity, toxicity, or anything of that nature. So for those that want to press the dislike button, for instance, on my videos or anybody that creates content, I will ask you this question. What was the intention of doing that? And was that to make the plant content creator better? Or was it you just actually not having good vibes? Please reflect on that. And I'm very quick to call out anybody that has negativity. I think oftentimes we don't slow down to think about the actions we do towards people. I always say, show kindness, be kind, be mindful of your actions, and only have good vibes only. So shout out to 365 Hydroponics for having these Aglaonema. Now the Aglaonema Kazania is a Greg Hambali hybrid, which is from a famous Indonesian Aglaonema hybridizer. Anything Greg Hambali is amazing, and he's really known for his Aglaonemas that have those specific stripes on his Aglaonemas, the really vibrant colors, the speckling. But to find a Aglaonema Kanzania from 365 Hydroponics, I hope that they will actually offer more of the plant foldies to sell. But you can see right here, I am using Classy Rabbit soil. I am slapping the pot to make sure that all of the plant roots are covered in this chunky mix. You can see we also have an Aglaonema Lotus Delight. So both Aglaonemas are actually Greg Hambali hybrids. Aglaonema Lotus Delight used to be extremely expensive. About 5 years ago, to be able to get one was about $500. I was able to purchase these Aglaonema from 365 Hydroponics for only $30, which to me is an amazing deal, considering the fact that these plants, you didn't have to import them, so you don't have to worry about acclimating these specific Aglaonema. These Aglaonema were in 3-inch starter planters, and I am actually potting them up in terracotta planters that I bought from Walmart. Yes, Walmart. I love the modern look of those terracotta planters, and I am using the Classy Rabbit soil. So here's the thing about Classy Rabbit soil. The ingredients are actually naturally sourced. The thought process of Classy Rabbit soil is to really create an environment where the soil is living. That means it has mycorrhizae, it has certain types of nutrients that's really going to go ahead and establish the roots of your plants, which makes it easier for plants to acclimate. When you have a strong root system established, it's going to make the plant easier to actually push out more growth. Healthy roots, healthy basics means healthy growth, healthy plant. And Classy Rabbit soil, they were actually the sponsors. So shout out to Nate. He became a friend of mine, and obviously my friend Parker, who was walking around PlantCon 2025 in Orlando asking people, have you pooped your plants? I am definitely going to poop my plants. I mean, Classy Rabbit is one of those new soils. They don't really rely on soil scientists, whatever that means. Like, I'm trying to think about some of the major soil producers, about these soil scientists. I like the fact that Classy Rabbit is actually made by farmers. And when you think about farmers, farmers know Mother Nature. They know what's naturally sourced, what actually helps the plants grow, and everything here is 100% natural. I know that Classy Rabbit is not necessarily all about labels, and more so, they're not really all about trying to utilize, like, say, a social media influencer. I just happen to love their products and feel like, you know, as far as showing how I pot up these plants, showing the benefits of using Classy Rabbit, it's really me believing into the product. So if you are interested in Classy Rabbit, like I said again, for those that did not make it to PlantCon or have not tried or tested the soil, definitely go to www.classyrabbit.com. They have those plants. Now, this one right here is another Aglaonema that I'm super excited about. Notice that it does have some roots. So I wanted to say thank you so much to Mike of Mike's Nursery. His nursery is amazing. He actually has his own plant shows because he has some very rare, variegated plants. And the fact that even though he had all of the different types of Monstera hybrids, like Monstera bulbasaur, definitely the Monstera devil monster, he also had Aglaonema. He had this Aglaonema, and I regret not getting the plant ID for it. Absolutely love this Aglaonema right here. I am potting it up in a 5-inch terracotta planter that I bought from Walmart using Classy Rabbit soil. He actually had a larger plant, but I really couldn't afford the plant, so he actually offered to sell me this this little baby separation cutting for only $50. And to me, that is a steal, considering this is another one of those hybrids that you would only be able to get from overseas, but he already had one established in soil, which gives me the confidence that this plant, it already has roots. It was separated from the mother plant, should be able to acclimate. Now, whether this plant will hold on to all of its leaves remains to be seen, but for me, being able to get something that's a little bit more unique, something that has like white stems, neon colored leaves, and something that's not, say, an anthurium, something that's not a Hoya, something that's more of just an Aglaonema that most people won't run into. I am just excited to share that haul with you. So you can see, super easy to actually pot these up using Classy Rabbit soil. I know that these roots are going to establish because of the mycorrhizae. You know, other ingredients that Classy Rabbit has is they have you know, composted food waste. They've got rice hulls. So here's the thing about rice hulls. Rice hulls actually carries a lot of silica, and silica is actually a solution that people will water their plants to actually make the cells of the plant a little bit more durable. That means it helps it more be more heat tolerant, cold tolerant, and also keeps the variegation of the plant from browning, or at least lessens it. Now, this plant right here has a Thai name, but actually it is also known in the United States as called Aglaonema airplane. And I love the Aglaonema airplane. This one was actually bought from my friend Sarut of Live With Plants. So definitely follow Live With Plants on Instagram. Sarut is actually going to be able to get me more Aglaonema from Thailand in when he goes to Houston, Texas, PlantCon. So I'm super excited, and that's the thing about getting to know some of these sellers. You're able to directly connect with them, and so I asked Sarut, and hopefully he'll be able to source out some more inexpensive Thai hybrids of Aglaonema. Can you tell that I love Aglaonema? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you have any questions about these Aglaonema, let me know as well. But in terms of going to PlantCon, please go to PlantCon. I will be going to PlantCon in Houston with Cultivation Corner. So Janae Simone, Stephen of I Live Plants are there. And I will also be bringing my grandmother, Lola Belen. She is 90 years old, but you know what? She loves expensive plants. She loves plants in general. So for those that want to meet my grandmother, my Lola Belen, you've seen her in some of the videos I featured. She will be going to PlantCon in Houston. But you can see right here, plant foldies. Super easy to pot up these plants. What I would say whenever you're potting up a plant, especially in Aglaonema, go ahead and plant it further into the ground or further into the soil substrate, because then you are going to promote some more baby pups. You can see that I am taking a little bit of time to shake the plants around. Look at that, super easy, and I love it. So thankful I was able to run into Classy Rabbit. So let me just go ahead and keep potting up some of these plants right here. I try to put a little bit of orchid bark just so I can actually create a little bit more drainage. The thing about it is, Classy Rabbit, you don't need to add anything. It is a complete soil. And what I mean by complete soil is it's a soil that it has all the natural ingredients you need for the plant to thrive. Actually, the longer the soil stays with the plant, the more microorganisms that are going to develop here. So here's the thing. Some people will say it is a naturally sourced soil. So what about fungus gnats? I would say in terms of fungus gnats, there are ways around to preventing it from soil substrates. Some people will actually water soil with mosquito bits that were dunked into water for 24 hours. That prevents and kills the actual eggs of any potential fungus gnats. And that can just be said with any soil substrate. I will say that Classy Rabbit has a new line that will prevent fungus gnats that they're working on. It's called Slashy Rabbit. And I have to say, if you look at the icons and just the marketing of Classy Rabbit, it is brilliant. I love the artwork, and there's just something that draws me to it. It's very quirky. It's very cool. It's very niche. It's very Classy Rabbit. So definitely check that out. But you can see right here, I am now potting up the Aglaonema that I received from Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. Definitely shout out again to Riki. Please leave comments in the comment section, just saying hello to Riki. I definitely want him to see the engagement from the watchers, the viewers of this plant haul today. And you can see it's super easy that I ended up just planting these Aglaonema here. I love using this Classy Rabbit soil. I mean, look at that, super easy. And I'm just going to spend a little bit of time actually potting the rest of these up before I show you some more of my plant haul. You can see that all of these Aglaonema have been sitting in the water actually more than 72 hours. I went ahead and let them sit there for about a week, about 5 days, to make sure the roots are actually hydrated. It's very important. And once you actually pot up these plants, notice how it's further into the ground, or at least further into the pot, so that way the legginess kind of disappears. It'll promote more growth long term. The only thing I would say in terms of concerns for the Aglaonema is they will probably lose a couple of leaves, like this leaf right in the middle. I could just pull it off now, but it is already a leaf that is not going to make it. And there are probably going to be a couple more leaves that may not make it. Have no fear. And that's just me speaking from experience. The plant will most likely recover and bounce back. It could take a little bit longer. Another hack I would say in terms of just acclimating plants, especially now that I got these plants in the springtime, you can actually take these potted up plants and give them the best environment. And I would say the best environment is to grow a plant outdoors in a shaded area that gets a lot of morning sun. The weather has been a little bit temperamental in North Dallas, but as it gets a little bit warmer, I am going to take some of my Aglaonema and let them just grow out in Mother Nature. I just think taking a plant outdoors, actually, it's like injecting them with like steroids, like the good stuff, to make them really grow. And just having Classy Rabbit soil, I'm very curious to see what kind of growth these plants are going to get, whether they're going to acclimate and recover at a faster rate. I should have actually potted up some of my other Aglaonema in another type of soil to test it out. There's plenty of plants to try that. So if you are interested to see a Classy Rabbit soil test, leave that in the comments and let me know in the comments section. And I do ask that. There are some super plant foldies that will really do the call for attention in terms of just comments. Thank you for that. But I really hope you guys will give me some more insights. It's very important for me to get that type of feedback and to really see what kind of content you are most responding to. hopefully this plant haul has been value added for you and educational, because that's really the purpose of this channel, is to educate people about Aglaonema, to popularize Aglaonema, and just to talk to you guys directly. I know I probably have rambled on throughout this video. You'll have to excuse me, but it's because I'm just really excited to finally show you my plant haul for PlantCon 2025. Orlando, Florida. And, you know, shout out to Kenny and his team for really having PlantCon available to the masses. It really just brings the joy of collecting plants, having that that conversation with many plant lovers, and just having that positivity around the plant community. But let's go ahead and pot up this plant. So here it is right here. This one is the Aglaonema Little Lemon, and you can see that some of the leaves have become yellow. I'm pretty sure that the majority of the leaves may fall off, but again, I am not too concerned about it. And, you know, patience is a virtue, and you know, if this plant doesn't necessarily make it, it's not the end of the world. You have to have that type of mindset too, where you're okay with a potential plant going to plant heaven, as long as you know you've given it all that you can possibly give it in terms of a chance to actually acclimate and live. That is the excitement of you know, growing plants from overseas or receiving from overseas, is the acclimation process. Is you know, growing plants from overseas for everybody? I wouldn't necessarily say yes, because some people may not be into the process of acclimation, but I would say the rewards are super worth it, because if you do get a plant, say like this Aglaonema orange stardust, to acclimate, you already know nobody is going to have a beautiful orange peach plant that is low light tolerant and drought tolerant in the market. And if you did find one that was acclimated in the United States, it's probably going to cost 3 times more than what you would have gotten from, say, buying it from Art Garden Flowers, from Riki, or another seller from overseas. So, you know, that's just my 2 cents on that. And, you know, the confidence I have that these plants are going to make it is because classy rabbit soil is being used. And I really do believe in the plant product. I spent quite a bit of time with Nate, who is actually the one that's producing this soil, and just getting to know him, actually been able to go out to his farm to see where all of this production is. And so vetting out the actual seller, the people behind the product, is super important. I think that's with anything in life, right? You can take my word for what I am presenting, for instance, but at the end of the day, I always encourage people to just go with their personal experiences. It's easier to have some sort of idea, I suppose, when it comes to, like, say, reading Google reviews or reading reviews or hearing it from word of mouth, but always trust your instincts. Do your research. Find your circle of friends that you can truly lean into, that are going to be quite honest and transparent with you. I think that is super important. With that being said, I still believe in you guys all at least trying Classy Rabbit. Let me know in the comment section how that works out for you. Again, it is free shipping. They do offer free shipping on their orders, so definitely check that out. Now, I've potted up the majority of my plants in soil. So what I do now is, you can see here, I want to give you a demonstration. So these are the Aglaonema. That's the Aglaonema Lotus Delight in the Classy Rabbit soil. And look at how fast draining the Classy Rabbit soil is. Like, literally, I have drenched it and the water just goes down so fast. Here's the thing though, just because it's fast draining does not mean it's not retaining moisture. I just like the fact that it's not retaining too much moisture to the point where you can get potential root rot. So for those that are overwaterers, or somebody that overloves their plants, this soil substrate is going to work for you. So that's what I do. I want to soak up the soil with just water right here. I am going to utilize a solution called Grow Concentrate by We the Wild USA. It's just more natural nutrients that I can put into the soil substrate. Not that Classy Rabbit really needs it, but you already know I like to maximize the productivity of the soil substrate in order for these plants to actually acclimate and have the best potential growth. So just watch through the rest of the video here as I finish up watering the plants, and then there are a couple more plants, and then my final thoughts in terms of my PlantCon haul. I'm really happy that I was able to find these two Aglaonema from Greg Humbali. These were bought from 365 Hydroponics, so please make sure you are following their Instagram as well. They are a Florida-based nursery, and just very happy that I was able to get an Aglaonema Kazania as well as an Aglaonema Lotus Delight. These are still fairly difficult to find in the United States. And as you can see right here, I'm actually spraying these plants down with my Plant Foldy Mist, which is basically neem oil spray, not only to make sure that there are no potential plant pests, but just to give that protective coating around the plant. It also gives it a natural shine. This is the only plant that I am a little bit concerned about slightly. And I say slightly because it is just one that shows that there is a little bit of yellowing on the leaves. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the leaves are going to fall off and that plant is just going to have to recover. Hopefully it makes it through. And then this one right here is another Aglaonema that I really love. This is called an Aglaonema Airplane. Now there is a Thai name for this Aglaonema. I ended up buying it from a Thai seller at PlantCon, Live with Plants, and this is from my friend Sarut, which I actually ended up buying some plants from him when I first got in touch with him at the Dallas PlantCon in 2024. Sarut has some amazing selections from Thailand. This one right here is an Aglaonema Airplane. I got it for a very good price, so I'm so thankful to my friend Sarut, and I look forward to meeting him again at PlantCon in Houston 2025. I did ask him, I sent him a direct message on Instagram to see if he can source out some more Aglaonema from Thailand, and that's the beauty of making connections at PlantCon. You'll be able to get in touch with some of these vendors. A lot of them are very receptive to being able to find certain plants that you're interested in, and for my plant haul of PlantCon 2025, it really is a celebration of a lot of these plants that you can really only get overseas. This one right here is a very healthy looking Aglaonema. So the Aglaonema Airplane is basically a variegated Aglaonema Silver Bay. And when you think about big box store plant shopping, you will see an Aglaonema Silver Bay. It is one of the most common Aglaonema you will find, alongside with the Aglaonema Red Siam, as well as the Aglaonema Maria. But this one right here, this is an easy to care for plant. You'll notice that it has some really good variegation, and I'm hoping I could grow this plant into a large size. So the thing about these green Aglaonema is that they tend to get larger leaves. I'm even hoping to delve into potentially breeding Aglaonema, hybridizing them, you know, having a conversation with Sir Clay of Valcaria Gardens at PlantCon. He did mention he would teach me how to hybridize Aglaonema, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to actually traveling back to Florida and spending some time at some of these Florida nurseries. And then you can see right here, I have this Aglaonema that has such beautiful coloration. This one is also from Mike's Nursery, and Mike's Nursery is also based out in Florida. And what I really love about this Aglaonema is the fact that this is basically a propagation split. So there was a really large Aglaonema, and I wish I had gotten the plant ID from him. What I really liked about this Aglaonema is obviously the neon colors, the ghost-like look. It's got a pastel look, and then the white stems. But, you know, as far as the affordability of this Aglaonema, it was a little bit more pricey. It was kind of out of my budget. However, Mike was so kind enough to work with me and actually take a little bit of a baby split off of the mother plant. And he did that while I was actually at PlantCon 2025 in Orlando. And I was just very excited that he was willing to do that. And hopefully this plant responds. Again, you know, with the Classy Rabbit soil substrate, I'm very confident that these plants will actually develop a really good root system. As I've stated in this video, a lot of times plants will actually have to acclimate. So you might see a decline in their health as long as you stay patient and you provide the best conditions. So for these Aglaonema that are acclimating, for instance, or propagating in this case, you want to provide bright indirect light. So we mentioned that Aglaonema are more low light tolerant plants. I always say that, the best kind of light is bright indirect light for pretty much every plant that you can possibly think of. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm also going to make sure that I provide, neem oil spray on these plants, make sure that they are pest free, because whenever a plant is acclimating, it's not in the best health, right? If a plant is actually stressed, it is a little bit more susceptible to plant pests. Plants kind of release this pheromone where it just sends out this signal for plant pests to attack it because it's not in its best health. And I'm not necessarily saying that import plants are not healthy plants. It's just the amount of stress that they receive when they travel from overseas. You have to think that imported plants entering at least the United States cannot enter the United States with soil, because soil may have certain pathogens and some other types of pests that could potentially infiltrate the United States. So obviously the USDA is very stringent on that. So as far as the plants, they have to be uprooted from either a soil substrate and then be put into like a sphagnum moss situation. And that's the reason why I think for plants that you receive from overseas, it is a process. So a lot of my plant haul from PlantCon, it's not just instant gratification. You can see that I'm showing you the process of actually, unboxing the plants from overseas, making sure you get them clean, making sure that you are hydrating them for at least 72 hours. Now, sometimes you will find plants that are from overseas where the roots are just not viable roots. And what I mean by that is they could be black and soggy, and you're going to actually have to just repropagate them in water. That can take a little bit longer. Thankfully, from the plants that I received from Art Garden Flowers from Riki, I was able to get some plants that I could actually put in a soil substrate. So you can see right here, beautiful plant again. You can see that there's just so much coloration in these Aglaonemas. And I have to ask anybody that is actually watching my plant shopping videos or my PlantCon haul today, would you have actually bought Aglaonema as a plant from PlantCon, or would you really have stuck to what most people would find popular, such as the anthuriums, the variegated philodendrons, alocasia and monsteras, the Hoyas? Would you have kind of stuck around that, or would you have actually taken a little bit of a glance now that you're seeing these gorgeous plants and think maybe you could collect Aglaonema? Hopefully this gives you some insight. And for those that are planning on going to PlantCon 2025 in Houston, Dallas, and New York City, and I am confirmed to be also traveling to New York City, let me know in the comment section if you'd be open to getting Aglaonemas. Again, I want to promote all of the sellers that sold me some plants. That would include Art Garden Flowers by Riki, Live with Plants with Sarut, Bakaria Gardens with Sir Clay. I also bought plants from Blue Moon Tropicals, which unfortunately I didn't actually get the video, but I ended up getting a variegated croton. They also had some good selections of plants. I ended up also buying plants from 365 hydroponics. So super excited about that, but I'm hoping to be able to source out even more plants from many different vendors. I regret not purchasing that Aglaonema Red Army, for instance, from Amelia's Garden, and several of the other Aglaonema varieties from Land of Alice. So those are other plant vendors I definitely want to shout out and recommend, especially if you're looking to source out Aglaonema. And a lot of this plant haul again is centered around this, but you can see that this is my process. I'm just watering it with some nutrient solution. It is actually We the Wild Grow Concentrate. It's just a diluted version just to get the mycorrhizae really embedded into this classy rabbit soil. I really do hope that you guys will take a chance at trying out the classy rabbit soil. It is a really good soil substrate. What I love about it is, again, it is all naturally sourced. It is a complete soil. It is a local business out in McKinney, Texas. And I just love seeing businesses grow either through word of mouth or through recommendations. Let me me know in the comment section if you've actually bought Classy Rabbit soil from classyrabbit.com. They do offer free shipping as well. So definitely consider that. And then let me know if you have any questions about some of the Aglaonema, and for any future PlantCon videos, what kind of footage do you want to see from PlantCon? Because I intend to get hours, and I say hours of footage because what I've noticed with social media, or at least content creation, a lot of it is very much short format, which is really what is the standard, I would suppose. You know, with TikTok and Instagram Reels, a lot of times it's usually only a minute long. But I have actually been watching YouTube when it first started, 2 decades ago, and I've just always been in the mindset of longer format content. So let me know what you think about some of the future content I will create for PlantCon, so that way people can actually see what a plant show looks like potentially. And I'm hoping next year, at least this year, maybe I might be able to attend a couple of other plant shows. I'm really interested in covering that. But as you can see right here again, plant foldies, look at how beautiful this Aglaonema Orange Stardust is. And I will say this Aglaonema Orange Stardust, I've had one before. It ended up going to Plant Heaven. It is a very finicky Aglaonema. The more colorful varieties are definitely not as easy as the green varieties. They are really susceptible to mold and fungus. So you have to make sure you have a sterile environment for a lot of these Aglaonemas. The moment you see any like mushy brown leaves, you need to go ahead and make sure to get rid of that leaf, keep it away from your other Aglaonema, and make sure that you are either spraying the Aglaonema with like a hydrogen peroxide type diluted spray. It's not going to hurt the plant, but it will definitely kill any bacteria or anything of that nature. So things that I've learned, Aglaonema are not as easy of a care for plant as you would think. At least the more fancier varieties. I don't want to just say, hey, they're like the easiest plant to take care of. They are a little bit easier than most of the trending or popular house plants, but at the same time, they still do have their baggage of problems as well. I don't think that there is any plant that doesn't have a situation where it can be challenging. I mean, some people will even say like Sansevieria or snake plants are the easiest plants, but especially the Sansevieria trifasciata, or most of the snake plants you would see at a common big box store, they tend to be susceptible to root rot or dry rot, where the roots actually rot because you've kept the soil substrate really dry. But you can see right here, as I spray these plants down, I am all about preventative pest control. I try to get ahead of any potential pest, and the fact that I love this neem oil spray that I'm spraying on it, it just makes my leaves of my plants actually shiny. And then now I am going to go demonstrate some more potting up of some plants. So again, I have my bag of Classy Rabbit soil. I'm just putting a little bit of orchid bark at the bottom of the pot because I want to kind of stretch out the planter. You can see this is another one right here, another Aglaonema. Look at those roots. Look at how beautiful that red is. And again, this is another plant that you can potentially put in a darker space in your home, and it will still be able to live. It wouldn't necessarily thrive, but it will tolerate it to the point where you can at least keep that Aglaonema alive. So let's go ahead and pot this up with that Classy Rabbit soil. One Classy Rabbit product I want to try is the Classy Rabbit soil conditioner, and I also want to try Slashy Rabbit, which is basically a natural product that you can use to prevent fungus gnats. Because with soil substrates that are naturally sourced, there is a potential of having some fungus gnats appear. So it's always good to be have some of that preventative care. Now you can always use mosquito bits that are actually soaked in water for like 24 hours. Water your plants. It'll potentially kill any fungus gnat. Eggs And then you can also use the Zevo plugins. Those are amazing to actually destroy a fungus gnat population. All you have to do is plug it in, have your plants be around that Zevo plug-in, turn off the lights. The light will attract fungus gnats and it will destroy it. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, this one I would say is the most healthy of all of the Aglaonema I received from overseas. It was one that really traveled, and it's really interesting how certain Aglaonema varieties travel better. I would say the Greg Humbali Aglaonema, they tend to be a little bit more finicky, and that's because they're the more colorful ones, or maybe I just haven't figured out the right care tips for it. So just go ahead and watch me pot up some of these plants. Feel free to leave many comments in the comment section. Again, I love commentary from anybody. All I ask is, number one, to comment with positivity. And if you have feedback, please make sure it's constructive critiques, something that would be value added, something that I know your intentions is to actually improve me versus just being negative, because that definitely will not be tolerated in the comment section. Now, as you can see right here, this is an Aglaonema amber. Notice that there are, I think, 2 or 3 yellowing leaves. What I'm going to do once I pot this up is actually remove those leaves. Some people have mentioned that you should just leave the leaves and let Mother Nature let it, I guess, fall off. But for me, I just believe that holding on to those dying leaves actually takes away energy from the plant, where the plant can actually focus it on either new growth or root production. Feel free to leave it in the comment section if you agree or disagree. Like I said, again, that engagement, that commentary, that feedback, that open dialogue that continues in the comment section is really appreciated. And you can see that this particular Aglaonema actually has 2 that I could literally just cut in half and actually have 2 plants. But for the purposes of just trying to keep that plant super full, I want to go ahead and just keep the 2 together. Now, once it starts to show new signs of growth, I may consider splitting the 2 and actually having one to give as a gift. That's the thing about Aglaonema is Aglaonema, once they're established, once they're happy, they start to shoot little baby pups, just like Sansevieria and some other plants, like even Dieffenbachia, where you can actually propagate through splitting. And I think that that's the most effective way to propagate an Aglaonema, is just waiting for them to push out little baby pups and then separating it from the mother plant. You can take cuttings from Aglaonema. Like, say if your Aglaonema end up being a little bit leggy, you can just chop the top off and water it, propagate it in water. That's what I'm trying to say. Propagate it in water, and when you start seeing viable roots, you can just pot it back up into the soil. That's one way, but I do think separating the Aglaonema is the best way to do it. And with this particular Aglaonema, take a look at the veining, right? It's got some nice orange stems, and orange color, I think, in plants is becoming quite popular. I mean, you think about some of the trending plants like the philodendron orange orange princess and some other orange varieties. But with Aglaonema, you can easily find these colors. And I actually ask anybody that is watching my PlantCon plant haul, if you are curious about Aglaonema, do a search on Etsy and see what kind of varieties of Aglaonema are there. And then also, if you go on Instagram, you can find some Indonesian Aglaonema pages, and you'll see all of the colorful varieties. Now, this one right here is also another Aglaonema. Even though it doesn't necessarily have the most extensive root system, this Aglaonema lipstick Peter Pan, I still like it because it still has traveled fairly well, and we'll see what all of these Aglaonema do in the next 2 months. I'm going to give these Aglaonema 2 months to really acclimate. By the time I get to go to PlantCon Houston, we'll see if some of these end up going to Plant Heaven. We'll see if they actually push out new growth. And there's always a chance for me to start over and try again. So my suggestion is, if you love a plant and say you send it to Plant Heaven, it just doesn't work out, learn from your mistakes. Really look into the things that you can adjust in your plant care, and potentially you may be able to grow that plant in your plant collection. There is no shame in actually sending a plant to Plant Heaven. You know, growing plants, it is a process. It is the same as just the plants growing us as individuals. We learn through our mistakes. We are allowed to fail, because through failure, you actually learn lessons. Or if you are receptive to feedback and just really rethink about some of the things that may have caused that failure, for instance, a plant going to Plant Heaven, you'll be able to make those adjustments. Like for me, even just taking the time to pot this up in Classy Rabbit soil, I wouldn't say 100% that these plants are going to just thrive in this soil. I am just going to remain positive and confident just based on what I've seen in terms of the ingredients, how the soil actually drains very quickly, and how easy it is to work with the soil. I'm pretty confident that it's going to work out well for my Aglaonema. We'll see what that looks like, but as you can see right here, plant foldies, I am just potting it up. And the thing about it is, once you pot up a plant in a soil substrate, you really want to get all of the soil substrate soaked wet, and that way, you know, it remains moist. That way the roots are hydrated, and then I would not water the plant until the soil is completely dry. You know, Aglaonema tend to like to be on the drier side. Again, they tend to like to be in fast draining soil. And so Classy Rabbit definitely lends itself to that. Another thing about Aglaonema is, you know, the overwatering portion. If you put them in a soil substrate that is more moisture retention, it doesn't do well for the plant. There's a higher probability that the roots will rot. There's a higher probability that the leaves will end up getting moldy, brown, and that's some of the things that you have to really consider whenever you are growing any type of plant. Knowing the potential plant pests, characteristics, diseases, that way you can be a little bit more preventative when it comes to that. Like you can see right here, I am spraying this down with some neem oil spray. Again, I like to spray the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves, the actual stems and petioles, and even a little bit on the surface of the soil substrate. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take a little time to water these plants, make sure that I spray them down with neem oil, and then I'm going to move on to the next set of plants that I got from PlantCon. Classy Rabbit really lives up to its name in terms of just fast draining. I mean, I'm literally drenching this soil and that water is just going through very quickly, which is what I really like, because you never want newly potted up plants to actually sit in water like that. And to be on the safer side, the reason why I use terracotta planters is, number one, the functionality of a terracotta planter. So if you need a plant to stay more so on the drier side, if you consider yourself somebody that is an overwaterer, somebody that waters their plants a little bit more frequently than what the plant needs, go ahead and pot up your plants in terracotta planters. Terracotta actually sucks up the moisture a lot faster versus, say, keeping a plant in a plastic planter where it will actually retain the moisture. Terracotta actually siphons out that moisture and gets the soil to dry out a little bit faster, which in the Aglaonema sense is a good thing because they tend to like to be more on the drier side. Watering is very critical when it comes to Aglaonema. Only water your Aglaonema thoroughly once the soil is completely dry. Do not water your Aglaonema and keep it moist, because again, it is going to be potentially going to root rot. It's actually more susceptible to that. And I just think that it makes it easier for us to grow Aglaonema because the watering isn't as frequent as some other plants. Because at the end of the day, especially if you are still watching this plant haul video, it's because you are a collector. And I would go to show that probably if you are a collector, you probably have like a lot of plants than the average person. So I'm going to finish off this section of my plant haul, and I'm going to move on to the next plants that I got from PlantCon. You can see that I am just watering this, and then I'm spraying it with neem oil and finishing up these plants. I bought my terracotta planters again at Walmart. Very cost-effective planters for these plants. I do like shopping at Walmart for some of my plant supplies. They've got some great products that have really good value. So I would definitely suggest that. Definitely suggest all of the modern terracotta planters that Walmart has as a line. So you can see that I am done potting up all of my Aglaonema from Art Garden Flowers. Now this is another Aglaonema hybrid that I got. This one is also potted up as well. I ended up buying this again at Valkaria Gardens from Sir Clay. He ended up bringing some more Aglaonema, and you can see this one right here. We don't know the actual plant ID, but I will tell you, he was selling these Aglaonema hybrids for only $20. $20. That is such a good price for these Aglaonema hybrids. You can see right over here, this is another Aglaonema hybrid. This one is actually an Aglaonema White Legacy that I ended up getting in a 6-inch planter for only $20. And when you really look up Aglaonema White Legacy, you will see that it is a lot more expensive to get overseas. And so I'm really happy that I was able to source this out from a US grower. Sir Clay, again, of Valkaria Gardens, has an amazing selection of Aglaonema. He mentions that that is his favorite plant to grow. And so hopefully you guys will be able to buy some plants from him from his garden center out in Florida. And then you can see this is an Aglaonema Velvet. That one was a really large one that I also potted up in Classy Rabbit soil. That one was only for $40. So you can see plant foldies, and anybody that was curious about the plants that I ended up getting at PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida, it's definitely in Aglaonema Plant Hall. Hopefully you guys have liked me showing the process, showing these beautiful plants, and just know when I go to PlantCon in Houston, I'm going to go source out even more Aglaonemas. This is such a beautiful plant. I cannot believe I actually flew on a domestic flight and was able to get all of these plants safely back to North Dallas. And this one right here is the final Aglaonema I wanted to show you. And this one is my favorite one of all of my haul. This is a variegated Aglaonema Golden Bay. So the difference between the Aglaonema Airplane, which is a variegated Aglaonema Silver Bay, the variegated Aglaonema Golden Bay is actually one that has white stems versus the green. And I really love this. Look at how stunning this Aglaonema is. And I was able to buy this Aglaonema. I will not mention the price, but I will say the price was so good for the size of the plant. Thank you again to Mike of Mike's Nursery out in Florida. He had some amazing Aglaonemas. I regret not buying the Aglaonema Golden Hope. He was selling a pretty large one for only $200. And again, if you look up some of these Aglaonemas that are on sale, or at least from other overseas sellers, they are a lot more expensive. But what do you think about this variegated Aglaonema Golden Bay? This one is already getting some blooms, so I'm hoping to get the flowers to mature so I can pollinate it, maybe even self-pollinate it and see what we get. But anyways, plant foldies, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. Would definitely appreciate it. And then as always, this is Richie at Grow Folds. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you've enjoyed my PlantCon haul, and I look forward to sharing more of my plant finds at PlantCon 2025. Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Fold, and today I will be showing you my PlantCon 2025 Dallas haul. Super excited to show you what I got from Dallas PlantCon. Again, thank you so much to the PlantCon International Organization for choosing me as being one of the creator collective plant influencers to create this type of content. Hopefully you guys will like my little PlantCon haul, but just to let you guys know, PlantCon was just amazing, and I finally got to be able to make a PlantCon haul. You already know plant foldies, and for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome, my name is Richie, and I do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, but today is a special day because I'm actually going to be showing you, number one, my face, and then number two, all of the plants that I received from PlantCon 2025. So a couple of things I did want to talk about in terms of like what you need to be prepared for when it comes to a PlantCon is, number one, you need to really make sure that you have a set budget, because it is super easy to get out of hand and just buy every single plant. Number two, if you are going into PlantCon and you want to do some massive shopping, definitely buy yourself a wagon, bring yourself a wagon. And then number three, just make sure that you have space to bring these plants back. Luckily for me, since I am a local person that lives out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it wasn't that big of a problem for me to haul these plants. I did go to PlantCon in Orlando, and I had to figure ways to ship the plants back, or at least carrying them on a plane. Now, if you do live in the United States and you are just flying domestically, you can carry these plants on as a carry-on. Just double check what that looks like. But anyways, I did want to just talk about some of the plants that I received today. There were a lot of plants at PlantCon, you know, ranging from the trending anthuriums, many philodendrons, definitely Hoyas, monsteras, and all of the things. But for me, I like to go against the grain a little bit. For those that have been following my YouTube channel, can you guess what plants I got from PlantCon? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. I would really love for you guys to help me push this content out, because now I am actually doing face on YouTube. Before I used to do faceless YouTube, so now you guys will see that. But anyways, let me go ahead and just talk a little bit about some of the plants that I received. Knowing that I was going to be actually making content for PlantCon, I decided that I was actually going to just spend my whole budget before I got into PlantCon. Now, some people will ask, how do you spend all of your budget before you step into the doors of PlantCon? It's quite easy, actually. Now, if you haven't seen some of my content, I like to buy plants from Art Garden Flowers, an Indonesian local nursery, international nursery actually, that ships plants overseas to the United States. And the good thing about it is they go through a broker that imports the plants, so you don't necessarily have to have an import license because they do all the importing and all of the phytosanitaries. They literally just ship the plants to your doorstep. But they were offering free shipping, and if you're gonna if you're like me, who wants to actually be budget friendly and wants to actually save money collecting these rare and uncommon plants, I decided that I would do a pickup at PlantCon Dallas. So I was able to do that at Art Garden Flowers. There were a couple of other vendors that I ended up getting some plants from, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the plants. I did want to just talk about the unboxing portion. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how I unbox some of the plants. Also, I will be doing another clip where I ended up actually doing a live selling event for Art Garden Flowers, where I was able to sell plants from their Indonesian nursery all the way to plant lovers in the United States that actually went to PlantCon. So for my plant foldies, again, I am gonna be showing you some of the clips of me actually picking up the plants at PlantCon and then shipping it to your doorstep. But anyways, let's just talk about some of the other plants that we are going to look at. So plant foldies, you can see that I am unboxing a plant foldy order that she actually made through Art Garden Flowers. Again, I did an Instagram live selling with my friend Harry and the Art Garden Flowers team. And these are the plants that I ended up picking up at PlantCon 2025 in Dallas, Texas. I went ahead and grabbed all of these plants from the Art Garden Flowers booth. Thank you to Steffi. She was actually working the booth and actually having these plants available. So what I wanted to do for the plant foldies is to save them money on shipping directly to their doorstep. I decided that I would go ahead and pick up these plants that they bought from the live selling, since it was free shipping to Dallas. And then I ended up just packing up these plants and shipping them to their respective homes. So shout out to my loyal plant foldies, Daisy. This one is her order. And then later on, you will see me unbox Tiania's order as well. But as you can see right here, we've got two different types of Aglaonema, and then she also ended up getting some beautiful anthuriums. And if you notice, Art Garden Flowers has another way of packing their plants. Notice that they have this clear plastic that has holes, so it does retain some of the humidity levels for the plants. It definitely protects it. And then after speaking to Harry, my friend that works at Art Garden Flowers, again, follow his personal Instagram page at Indo Miami Plants. Let him know you are a plant foldy and he can take care of you. But he just mentioned that they are innovating ways to really package these plants and ship them to the United States or internationally, wherever you may live, in a more safe way to protect the plants. And I think this is brilliant. I saw some other international plant vendors, but they did not have them in these like humidity domes. So as you can see right here, I've got two Aglaonemas. I just got another anthurium, and then I just picked up another beautiful Syndapsis. Here is another anthurium. And again, it just made me bring a lot of joy to my loyal plant foldies, those that have continued to support my YouTube channel, and for those that have actually just discovered my YouTube channel because of the PlantCon content. Welcome to my channel again. I hope that you will press the subscribe button for this YouTube channel with all the notification bell on. This is a steadily growing plant community, and I just really love fostering a very positive environment where it's only good vibes only. So as you can see right here, I am just unboxing these plants, and you can even tell that these plants traveled almost 10,000 miles from overseas to Dallas, Texas, and these plants are in perfect condition. Now, I got to speak to my plant foldy, and she even mentioned that these plants were delivered even better than some of the plant mail that she's gotten. So that's super exciting. And this is the reason why no, Art Garden Flowers did not sponsor me for this plant haul, but I am just really heavily invested in promoting these plants. So as you can see right here, plant foldies, I am just taking a box and I am packing up these plants here. Don't judge my packing, but I got a box that was pretty much easy to pack. And I love the fact again that Art Garden Flowers has a way of just packing them in these humidity cubes or domes. It makes it easy to transfer these plants. I don't have to worry about having to protect them because they're super protected. I am curious to see how my plant foldies plants do as they acclimate. But as you can see right here, I am just taking my time to pack up these plants. Will I be doing this for plant foldies in the future? I really don't know if I would do this long term in the future because it does take quite a bit of space. And I also wanted to gift my plant foldies a bunch of origami paper cranes. So for those that are curious and don't know the reason why I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds, it's because this channel was originally an origami ASMR channel where I was folding origami paper cranes on a daily basis. My goal is to fold 1 million origami paper cranes in my lifetime. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I went ahead and gifted some origami paper cranes, and now I am about to seal up this package. Let me know what you guys think, and do you think this is super exciting? I'm really happy that you guys are continuing to watch my plant haul. I am getting a little bit more creative in my content creation because now you can see my face, and I just really wanted to say for the plant foldies that took a chance to buy overseas plants and have me pick them up at PlantCon 2025 in Dallas, Texas, I truly hope you are satisfied and continue to support Art Garden Flowers. After unpacking and packing up these plants to ship to my plant foldy subscriber, I am just in awe of how people actually do this for a living. I don't know if I could do it long term because it is very meticulous. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I've got another pickup of plants from Art Garden Flowers from Dallas PlantCon. This one is for my viewer and my friend Tiania out in New Jersey. This one is a variegated Florida Beauty, Philodendron Florida Beauty. She only got for $10, but look at how high the variegation is and look at how it shipped. I mean, it is in perfect condition. And again, these plants were shipped from Indonesia all the way to Dallas, Texas. And this is the reason why, again, I highly encourage going to a plant con and even pre-ordering and buying plants from Art Garden Flowers, because you can pick up these rare and uncommon plants, these variegated plants, for a very good price. Now, this one she got on special as well. I think it was only $10 for that Syngonium aurea. So total, it didn't really cost her as much to get these plants. And again, this is the expertise that Art Garden Flowers team in Indonesia has. So you can see right here, plant foldies. I'm gonna go ahead and just pack up these plants. I am gonna go give her some more origami paper cranes. For those that haven't tuned in, I do vertical live YouTube streams. Sometimes it gets a little iffy, if you know what I mean, in terms of some of the random people that show up and make comments, but I actually fold origami paper cranes live, and I am gifting Tiania some of the origami paper cranes that I did from a previous live. So you can refer back to one of those videos. She's going to end up getting it, and I'm just going to go snug these two plants here so it doesn't move around. But don't judge me too much on my packing skills, and let's just continue to watch this video, and I will continue on with this unboxing and also plant haul, where I will show you what plants I personally got at PlantCon as well. And I'm pretty proud of how I did the packing for both of my plant foldies orders. And I'm just really glad that they confirmed that they got the packages and that the plants arrived the same way I received them and also packed them. So kudos again to Art Garden Flowers for having some amazing plants. And you have to think about the plants that you get from overseas. If they were not healthy, they would definitely not be able to withstand all of the stress of just transit. And that's the reason why I will continue to support Art Garden Flowers. Please make sure, if you haven't already, follow them on Instagram at Art Garden Flowers, and also let Riki know and also Harry know that you are a plant foldie. So we're going to move on next. So as you can tell, I was just really happy that I was able to get Tiania and Daisy on Instagram, their plants. I'm really hoping that these plants will actually thrive for you. So here's the thing about getting plants from overseas. And this is the reason why I feel like my content is a little bit different than the average person's plant haul. And that's because I get plants from overseas. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you are following artgarden.flowers on Instagram, Indo Miami Plants on Instagram. My friend Harry is the liaison that has been able to get me a bunch of these plants. And not only are they able to get you definitely the Aglaonema that we're going to be seeing in my plant haul, but they can source out many beautiful variegated anthuriums, Hoyas, monsteras, philodendrons, anything that you can think of, they can actually source out and ship directly to your doorstep. And I did also want to talk about the Aglaonema book that I collaborated with Art Garden Flowers. Harry is actually the person that was the author. Shout out to the Art Garden Flowers team for doing that. So I'm going to just show you a little clip of the actual book. It was supposed to be available at PlantCon Dallas, but unfortunately we didn't get all of the logistics ready for that book. But have no fear, it will be available for you, and hopefully this will actually get more people interested in the beauty of Aglaonema. So let's take a look at that. And foldies, can you believe that I was part of a collaboration to make a hardcover book called Indonesia's Living Jewel, Aglaonema 2025, presented by Art Garden Flowers? This has been a project that was inspired through my relationship with Art Garden Flowers and really encouraging the Indonesian market to really capitalize on the beauty of Aglaonema. For those that don't know, Indonesia is one of the leading countries to have so many different hybrids, and as you can see right here, this is a beautiful photo book, but it also discusses the different nurseries in Indonesia, plant care tips for Aglaonema, as well as the history of Art Garden Flowers, also the Aglomart 88 nursery that actually has this. These are Mr. Benz's Aglaonema, and you will also see a little blurb about me and my grandmother and my journey when it comes to just plant care. This is a very special book, and I am super proud to present it for our Western world, the United States, and hopefully this book will be available for purchase. What's exciting is any Aglaonema that you see in this book, there is a QR code that will give you the plant pricing for these Aglaonemas. So if you want these Aglaonemas shipped directly to you, you can go ahead and pause this video and scan that QR code. It will take you to the website. So we're going to go ahead and move on to this plant haul again. So the first Aglaonema I am about to show is actually called Aglaonema Wagyu. This one right here is a beautiful Aglaonema right here. Can you see that? It has beautiful marbling like A5 Wagyu. Now this one did not come from Art Garden Flowers. This one actually came from Sarut, from Live With Plants. Thank you to May of DM Secret Garden. She was actually able to bring this. This was actually a plant that I ended up getting pre-ordered, bought for PlantCon New York. But unfortunately, if you didn't know, my flight was actually canceled on the way to the airport to fly out to PlantCon New York City. Otherwise, I would have made pretty much every single PlantCon this year. There are reasons for it, but look at how beautiful this Aglaonema Wagyu is. Now this right here is still in sphagnum moss. So you can see right here, it is still in sphagnum moss. And you know, this actually has been in this substrate for at least a month now. And so it's still doing fairly well. And for me, I don't really want to move it into a soil substrate right yet. You can see that the roots, I don't know if the lighting is really good, the roots are still establishing. They look super healthy. So I will eventually put this Aglaonema Wagyu. But if you notice how beautiful the leaves are, look at that. This is a new Aglaonema hybrid. This hybrid actually came from Aglomart in Indonesia. It was actually a hybrid that was created by Mr. Benz. And if you actually get the Aglaonema book, you will know the history of this. But this one is a brand new Aglaonema hybrid. This is a 2025 Aglaonema hybrid. And guess what? I ended up getting it at PlantCon. And this is the reason why, again, for those that are watching this plant haul, you need to make a trip to PlantCon. I know that they have, I think, 6 of them planned out for next year. But as you can see right here, this one is from Live with Plants. Thank you so much, Sarut, for getting me an amazing price for it. So for now, this Aglaonema Wagyu is going to be staying in this like self-watering planter container, because look, it just kind of sits there like this. And what do you think? Let me know in the comment section on the first Aglaonema I'm going to show you right here. Now, plant foldies. Do you see this beautiful Aglaonema right here? It is so pretty. This one is called Aglaonema White Romance, and look at how massive this is. Now, here's the catch. This one is actually not an Aglaonema that I got from overseas. This one is actually an Aglaonema I got from one of my favorite plant vendors at PlantCon always, and that is Prop and Grow. Sabria and Eddie, thank y'all so much for always being kind to me. But as you can see right here, look at this Aglaonema White Romance. Isn't that stunning? Y'all, you have to let me know what you think. And what I love about this Aglaonema is, number one, this one doesn't need acclimation. I actually potted this up in today. Actually, I potted this up on October 25th, 2025. You can see that I'm using a Target Room Essentials planter. It's in an 8-inch planter, and I used a mixture of Classy Rabbit soil, which is actually a local plant vendor, a local small business out in McKinney, Texas. And I mixed the Classy Rabbit soil with Fox Farm Ocean soil, which I really love. And then if you can see right here, you can see that it is potted up and it's ready to go. I love this Aglaonema because if you look at it, it's got a beautiful tone, and you can see that I love white stem Aglaonema. But if you look at the Aglaonema as well, you can see that it's got some nice green undertones on this. Now, you know, Prop and Grow, I will tell you, is a pretty much traveling nursery because they always are doing plant shows, and it's amazing. Definitely go to their website, propandgrow.com. Let them know you're a plant foldie, because you know what? They've actually started carrying a lot of Aglaonemas because I was very, I would say, passionate, maybe insistent about more vendors getting Aglaonema. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, what do you think? Isn't this amazing? Amazing. Oh, I love it. Let me know what you think. And again, this is called Aglaonema White Romance. White Romance is the name of it, and it's definitely making me fall in love with Aglaonemas. Let me know what you think of Aglaonema White Romance. I do apologize about the lighting. You know, I meant to actually film this plant haul when the sun was out, but it's on overcast today. But you know what? I am just gonna go with it. At least I am able to show you this. What do you think about Aglaonema White Romance from Prop and Grow? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, plant foldies. So before I get to the next plant, I did want to talk about some tea, some great tea that I got. This is a green tea. Y'all look at this right here. This is actually from Costco. It's the Kirkland's organic green tea. Really good for your skin, because I know some of y'all were asking me what my skin regimen is. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of that. But yeah, let me go ahead and drink some of my green tea and talk about some of my thoughts about PlantCon as I do this plant haul. So here's a couple of things. As I was making content and I was looking at some of the plants, I can definitely tell what plants were very much trending, and that had to have been the anthurium hybrids. And the anthurium hybrids, not just the green velvety textured ones, it's actually the more variegated ones. So you can see that a lot of the variegated anthuriums are really only coming from these international plant vendors. So again, if you haven't ever made it to PlantCon, I highly encourage you to invest in going to a PlantCon. It's a really good experience. And it's always good vibes. At least for me, it's good vibes only. But just speaking to the plant vendors, a lot of people really are into anthuriums. A lot of people are actually looking at different types of Hoyas. And I was really impressed in the fact that a lot of people were actually carrying Thai hybrid caladium. So it'd be really interesting to see what kind of plants pop up at a PlantCon. We'll see what that all looks like. To me, it's all about the diversity of plants that you can find. But my heart is always going to be for the local plant vendors, especially in Dallas, Texas. I bought a couple of plants from a few local vendors in the past, but you already know plant foldies. Unless the local DFW plant vendors are actually going to carry Aglaonemas, I'm going to have to go with Art Garden Flowers or any of the plant vendors there. I did speak to a lot of the plant vendors, and I just remember introducing myself. And so thank you guys again for being super kind, for just allowing me to film freely. Again, you know, it could be a little bit awkward to have somebody silently like filming plants, but we got to talking, a lot of the vendors, and whenever I would pick up an Aglaonema, they would always tell me, you know, that's one of my favorite plants, but a lot of people just don't really buy it. I end up getting stuck with all of the Aglaonema. And here's my question for those that are watching this video, especially those that went to PlantCon. Why are y'all not into Aglaonemas? I mean, I just showed you two beautiful Aglaonemas, and I mean, the plant care is super easy, right? You just water when the soil is completely dry. Ideally, you want to give them bright indirect light, and basically that is it. Aglaonemas are super easy. They are low light tolerant as well. So like, why complicate things? But I found it quite interesting that a lot of plant vendors, they did carry some. I will say for the plant folding community, and you already know those that have actually watched my YouTube channel, and you know I talk about Aglaonemas all the time. Our influence is happening because more and more vendors are going to be carrying Aglaonemas, or at least if you watch some of my other content, my walkthroughs of PlantCon throughout this coming week, you will see that more and more vendors are carrying Aglaonema. So the pull is there, but if you really want amazing Aglaonemas, you definitely need to get them from overseas. Unfortunately, a lot of the United States still hasn't seen a lot of these plants. So that's really it. Other green tea I got, let's see. There's just a lot of people that are actually talking about having more curated plant collections. And so for me, you know, after talking to a lot of people at PlantCon, I totally agree. I think when you buy too many plants, and I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed plant addict. If you saw my plant room, which I actually got together, and there will be a actual YouTube houseplant tour maybe by the end of the year. You can thank my mother-in-law, who is staying with me and my husband Luke for a little bit. She was the one who helped me you know, organize and get a lot of plants. I actually did a purge. There were some plants that unfortunately made it to plant heaven, but you know, otherwise, you know, that's the thing. But you know, plant curation, just curating a collection for me was super exciting. And And now we're going to go into this next portion where I'm actually unboxing my Aglaonema from Art Garden Flowers in Indonesia. These were the actual plants that I pre-ordered and picked up at PlantCon 2025 in Dallas, Texas. And what is crazy is I actually didn't do this unboxing until October 25th, which was literally 6 days after I picked them up from PlantCon. So we're gonna actually see how well these plants have maintained being in their case. I just didn't have enough time. And if you follow my YouTube channel, you already know Plant Foldies that I do daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. I was unable to produce any videos the day after PlantCon and throughout the week. Work was super crazy busy, and I just had to recuperate from all of the excitement of PlantCon. So we're going to see what these Aglaonema look like, whether they are healthy, whether they maintain their leaf, and we'll just see. But as you can see right here, I am struggling to get these plants out of these domes. I love the fact that Art Garden Flowers has innovated and created a new case that makes it super easy to ship plants. So this one is an actual Aglaonema that I really like. This is called an Aglaonema rotundum. This one is a little bit more of a common Aglaonema in Indonesia. Unfortunately, this beautiful dark foliage, almost like purple tone Aglaonema, is not common at all in the United States. And if you were to buy an Aglaonema rotundum, say on Etsy or eBay, this plant would cost you an arm and a leg. So thankfully, I have connections and I'm able to buy these plants and get them directly shipped to my doorstep through Art Garden Flowers. I swear I sound like I am sponsored by them, but I'm really not. They just have taken care of me so much that if those that are wanting to get more rare and uncommon Aglaonemas, you can either go to PlantCon, for instance, and pick these plants up, free shipping, or you can just get them shipped directly to your doorstep. But as you can see right here, overseas plants are a little bit challenging to ship because, again, Art Garden Flowers has to be very meticulous in cleaning the roots. You cannot have soil substrates or anything of that nature. They have to ship these plants bare root in sphagnum moss. But as you can see right here, none of the leaves are melting. None of the leaves are yellowing. This is a prime example of a perfectly packed Aglaonema that was shipped by Art Garden Flowers through their air cargo service and was imported by their broker. But if you notice there, the roots are intact, and this is a perfect example of an Aglaonema that I can pot up directly into a soil substrate. So we're just gonna go ahead and keep unboxing these Aglaonema. Again, these Aglaonema traveled about 10,000 miles from Indonesia to Dallas, Texas to go to PlantCon Dallas 2025. So let me know what you think. I would really love to know your commentary, Plant Foldies, or anybody watching, if you are open to getting plants from overseas, because as you can see right here, I like to mix up my plant haul. I like to show a little bit of a different approach when it comes to just a plant haul video for PlantCon. I know that it's more of a longer format content. I may do an abbreviated version for Instagram. I'm really trying to actually do short format content, but this one right here is one of my favorite Aglaonemas. This one is the one that I definitely wanted. It is one of the more rare and uncommon Aglaonemas, and the reason being is this one is one of the hybrids that really capitalizes on the green and neon forms as well as the white stem. So when you think about like trending plants such as anthuriums, you think about the nuances of the leaves, the sinus of the leaves, just the veining. It's the same thing with Aglaonemas, except Aglaonemas are a little bit more overt or kind of in your face when it comes to the colors and the veining and the stem colors, all of this. But this one right here is a beautiful one right here. This one is the Aglaonema White Moon. And, you know, if you were to buy this plant, look it up and see how much it would cost. It would actually cost quite a bit of money because this one is a rare Aglaonema, but I was able to get a very good price through Art Garden Flowers. And you can see right here, look at the actual roots and look at the foliage. We're going to look at this a little bit more in detail, but this is literally me unpacking these plants after these plants have been sitting in their package for 6 days unpacked. I was actually super surprised so far with the first two Aglaonema. There is not a speckle of melting or yellowing leaves, and that is super exciting. So the next one we're gonna go ahead and do is another unboxing right here. Things to also think about, and that's the reason why I love doing these unboxing videos, is I like to educate anybody that might not have ever gotten plants from overseas. I wouldn't even necessarily say importing plants, because I didn't import these plants. These plants were actually imported through a US broker, and these were just shipped directly to PlantCon Dallas, which again makes it a lot easier to acquire these plants. But let's go see what these look like. So these larger varieties right here are traditionally packed by Art Garden Flowers in cardboard, which I still think is super safe to keep the plants intact. They do have the new plastic containers that you saw for some of the other plants that I picked up for my my viewers. But let's see right here, I am struggling a little bit. I just have to be really careful in how I unpack. And voila, plant foldies. This is another Aglaonema. Now this one has slight yellowing on some of the leaves, but needless to say, it is still in great condition. So there are just a couple of leaves that I'm going to remove. This one is called Aglaonema Miss World, and I'll get into the details of why I bought this particular Aglaonema in the later part of the video after I unpack these videos. So be sure to stay till the very end, because I will talk about each individual Aglaonema with my face on the video, because I know that some of you guys who have been following my YouTube channel are still new to seeing my face, because for the longest time I did faceless YouTube, but I did notice that there is a higher engagement rate now that I have shown my face. Y'all already know the reason why I actually kept my face out of YouTube or social media, and that's really because I wanted to separate my social media presence as compared to my day-to-day, everyday life. But you know what? I have realized that a lot of you guys really wanted to get to know the individual behind this channel. And so thank you to those that have continued to show kindness and actually really want to get to know me on a personal level. One thing I did want to also mention in terms of the reasons why I went ahead and did a face on YouTube, or actually started showing my face on social media, is because I have been granted more opportunities to be at these functions where I am plant influencing or creating content. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and I feel like this has really grown our brand in our community. I don't know, plant foldies, let me know in the comment section. I know that I am kind of talking a little bit outside of what's going on with this unboxing, but as you can see right here, this Aglaonema Miss World, which I got from Aglomart 88, that's where the Aglaonema was sourced from by Art Garden Flowers. You can see that this one right here has some really strong roots. These roots are more of the thick, robust roots, which are a little bit more delicate as compared to the spaghetti type roots some Aglaonema have. I will say firsthand though, this is still a very healthy looking Aglaonema. There have been some times where I have gotten plants from overseas where there are more yellowing on the leaves. And so for me, highly impressed with how these Aglaonema have shipped from Art Garden Flowers. So if anybody from the Art Garden Flowers team, Harry and all of the team in Indonesia, terima kasih, thank you so much for really taking the time to take care of my beautiful plants and giving me the opportunity to create awareness, to make Aglaonema popular, to really try and influence anybody that is watching my YouTube video today to buy more Aglaonema from Art Garden Flowers. But we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next Aglaonema as I unbox this one right here. Feel free to let me know in the comment section what you think about my unboxing and my plant haul so far. At the very end, I'm going to talk about each plant individually, the care tips I do after I've unboxed. But you can see this one right here is more of the delicate Aglaonema. This one is an Aglaonema White Paradise. And the reason why I wanted to get an Aglaonema White Paradise is you can see how pastel and neon the leaves are. It is a very delicate looking Aglaonema. There's maybe one leaf that I may end up pulling off, but what's important about this plant is while it looks a little bit stressed, the roots, as long as the roots are not brown and mushy, as long as it's still healthy, this plant is just going to take a little bit of time to recuperate and actually acclimate. And again, these plants may not always ship perfectly, but I would say that so far these plants have shipped almost perfect. If I'm being really nitpicky, there might have been a couple of yellow leaves I've had to pull, but otherwise very good packing. And the thing about the sphagnum moss is they actually have balanced it to where the sphagnum moss isn't completely soaking wet. Because if you actually soak the sphagnum moss too much, it actually may potentially rot the roots, and that's just not good. Because really at the end of the day, as long as you have a strong root system, the plant is always going to bounce back. It may just take a little bit longer, but let's take a look at this one right here. So this Aglaonema shipped very well, and I would even say with these more pale neon colored Aglaonema, especially the white stem varieties, they tend to take the most stress whenever they are shipped overseas, at least in my experience. But otherwise, the roots are still really good, and I am just going to go ahead and make the decision to pot this up in a soil substrate, and hopefully this will recover. I am going to give it the best ample light it can possibly take, so that's a bright indirect light, and hopefully the new plant nutrients I put in will help establish this Aglaonema. But I'm still very, very much impressed with this Aglaonema white paradise. It definitely looks like white paradise indeed. So this is the Aglaonema I really wanted to get a hold of. I remember seeing this on Instagram stories where they were selling this at Aglaomart88 on Instagram, where I messaged my friend Harry of Art Garden Flowers to be able to source this and purchase this. This is called Aglaonema Green COVID, and you can see that this is a jumbo Aglaonema. Really, really love the look of this one right here. And you can see that the leaves are a little bit more upright because it has been packed very carefully and snug. So eventually the leaves will go down again and it won't be so upright. But otherwise, I'm still really happy with this. I really wanted to get this particular Aglaonema because I like the fact that it's not the typical Aglaonema where some people say they all look alike. You know, whenever you see Aglaonemas in the United States, it's either like a pink color, a red color, and like that Aglaonema Silver Bay. This one really touches base on some of the veining, the intricacies of the leaf color and just even the stems. So while a lot of people are really much into anthuriums, and I keep referring to anthuriums, and the only reason why I say this is because after speaking to a lot of people at PlantCon Dallas, the reason why anthuriums are the trending plant is, again, number one, people can hybridize them and create their own hybrids, which is super exciting. And then number two, it is literally a work of art when you start to look at the minute details of the leaves. The same can be said about Aglaonema, but I would say Aglaonema is not a very minimalistic looking piece of art. What I mean by that is maybe with anthuriums, there is a little bit more minimalistic, modern contemporary vibe about it. Aglaonema look like very colorful paintings, and that may not necessarily be the case for everybody, but again, it's really in your own preference. But as far as this Aglaonema green COVID, this one has some very, very healthy roots, and again, it is because Art Garden Flower are experts at packing these plants and getting them shipped overseas. So you can see right here, very healthy looking Aglaonema. Love the roots, and you can see that the roots are slightly dehydrated, but I don't feel like I need to go ahead and put this in water. I have realized and learned through experience that if I soak these Aglaonema roots in water for too long, it can actually potentially like induce root rot. So I don't really want to do that. I am just going to go ahead and pot up all of these Aglaonema I picked up in a soil mixture using Classy Rabbit soil mixed with Fox Farm Ocean soil. Love that as well. And I will be using the mycorrhizae powder to really increase the potential of these roots establishing and getting stronger, and just making sure that these plants develop and grow for me. And plant foldies, you can see that these are newly unpacked Aglaonema. Notice the roots and the foliage. These are ready to be put into soil, which I will be doing in just a second, but I did want you to just take a look at the gorgeous Aglaonema that I recently unpacked. I took all of the sphagnum moss out, and they are ready to go into soil. And then at the latter part of this video, I will talk about each Aglaonema in detail. Feel free to leave in the comments what you think so far, and whether you would actually buy plants from overseas from artgardenflowers.us. presenting the process of getting plants from PlantCon Dallas and just getting these overseas plants. I really hope that this encourages more people to not only visit PlantCon, but actually be open to getting these plants. And you can see right here, these are the products I'm using to make sure that my plants from overseas have the best shot at actually acclimating. Super Thrive, that B vitamin, is what I'm going to use to water the plants initially. And then the Mycos or the mycorrhizae, you can buy this on Amazon. It is a really, really good powder to add, because the mycorrhizae actually makes the soil more nutrient dense, as well as the roots are able to actually take those nutrients from the mycorrhizae. So I found that this actually increases the potential of the plants actually acclimating substantially. So now that I am done actually potting up these plants, you can see that they look like they didn't even travel from Indonesia to Dallas, Texas. That one is that beautiful Aglaonema white moon. This is another one that is extremely uncommon, definitely rare in the United States. And you can see right here, this is an Aglaonema Miss World. Look at just the coloration on the leaves, even just a smite, the random peaches and pinks. And if you look at the planters, I am showcasing my aesthetic. I really like minimalistic planters. I love these Room Essentials planters that I bought from Target. Target has some really nice home decor. And when I mean by home decor, they have some great planters to utilize. You can see right here, this one is that gorgeous Aglaonema Green COVID. Couple of things to also mention after potting up these Aglaonema, I actually use a neem oil spray called We the Wild Neem Oil Spray to spray on the leaves. Not that they have plant pests, but it's to, number one, give them a little bit more of a leaf shine. I mean, you can see this gorgeous Aglaonema rotundum, for instance, but it also becomes a pest preventative. So in case you are worried about different types of plant pests hitting Aglaonema, the only plant pests that really bug Aglaonema that I've seen would be really mealy bugs, and that's really it. They're not so prone to spider mites. But as far as the Aglaonemas, again, look at this beautiful Aglaonema white paradise, and I am just really satisfied with the plants that I've received from Art Garden Flowers. Shout out to Mr. Benz and the Aglaomart 88 Nursery out in Indonesia. That is a legendary Aglaonema nursery, and I hope more people will buy Aglaonema. This one right here is from Prop and Grow Plant Shop. I went ahead and up potted this one right here. This is the Aglaonema White Romance. This one was actually in a 3-inch planter. I went ahead and doubled the size and put it in a 6-inch planter. But there you have it, plant foldies. And then now I'm going to talk about each Aglaonema so I can discuss my plant haul and give you some more thoughts about just PlantCon Dallas 2025 and just what I intend to do with these plants and the plant care I would suggest for getting plants from an international plant show. All right, plant foldies, do you see this beautiful Aglaonema? This one is a dark, almost black Aglaonema. This Aglaonema is actually called the Aglaonema rotundum. So if you look at this right here, this actually is a pretty common Aglaonema, but look at the leaves right over here, right? Look at how it's got a rounder leaf shape, and then the tip is there. This one tends to be, grows a lot of little babies. And I love the fact that I was able to get a pretty cost-effective plant price for this one from my friend Harry of Indo Miami Plants, Art Garden Flowers. This one also came from Mr. Benz's nursery, but if you can see right here, look at how beautiful it is. It's a pretty good size Aglaonema. What's interesting about this Aglaonema rotundum right over here is if you look at the veining, notice how it's got beautiful veining. It almost looks like what's that one Calathea pinstripes or something of that nature. But what's interesting about this Aglaonema is this Aglaonema is one of the Aglaonemas that they utilize to hybridize plants to get a lot of the veining or the little stripes. This is really the most common thing. So for instance, say if you were to take pollen and hybridize this, cross it with say an Aglaonema Silver Bay, you might get some coloration and more of the veining. So like, I'm not a professional when it comes to Aglaonema hybridizing, although I will say I am in the works of learning how to hybridize Aglaonema for those that are all about that like anthurium life. I know you guys are like, why are we even like watching Richie Growfold's plant haul? You clicked on the video and you know I'm going to talk about Aglaonema, so hopefully you guys are still engaged. But the hybridization of Aglaonema is a little bit more challenging. This one right here has multiple plants, and the thing about it is when I potted these Aglaonema up, I potted them up to where they didn't really get a lot of water. So you don't want to overwater when you pot them up. These are actually potted up in 6-inch planters. They probably needed to be potted up in a smaller pot. But to me, I'm going to just monitor it. And I used a lot of mycorrhizae powder. I use the Super Thrive. So let me show you this right here. This is really my go-to. Some people are like that it doesn't really do anything, but Super Thrive for me is definitely what you need to use to water your plants, especially when you're getting plants from overseas. So this is the Aglaonema rotundum. Let me know what you think of this Aglaonema. I think it's amazing. And just to let you guys know, I want to be that one plant collector in the United States. That my goal is to be the most extensive Aglaonema collection in the United States. And I really think that Art Garden Flowers is going to make it happen. So shout out again to Art Garden Flowers, but this is the Aglaonema rotundum. So the one thing I will say about Aglaonema is obviously they come in so many different varieties, but one variety that I really found quite interesting, and I'm really happy that, you know, PlantCon International has international vendors. You know, I have really highlighted Art Garden Flowers because I do work alongside with them, and that's really by choice. They don't necessarily sponsor me for videos. It's just I'm really passionate about the plants that they've been able to make possible for me to get. And one of the plants or the types of Aglaonema I am really happy about is the really pale, almost like pastel yellow, neon green Aglaonema that you don't really see. And so the first one I'm going to show you is this one right here. This is the Aglaonema. Let's see, what is it? Aglaonema White Paradise. Look at how massive this is right here. And it just looks very ghostly. Now, some people have their opinions again about Aglaonema, but you know, my thing about it is after going to PlantCon, it's really somebody's preference or plant aesthetic. But this is the Aglaonema White Romance, and I mean White Paradise, sorry. White Paradise, and you can see, look at these stems. The stems are freaking amazing, right? And so this one right here had some really good roots if you saw me pull that off. But you can see right here, look at how wonderful this is. And I am just loving it. So, you know, when it comes to the Aglaonema White Paradise, this is definitely a rare one. And you can see that it's very large Aglaonema. And I cannot wait to show y'all what these plants are going to look like in my plant collection. One thing I will say about my Aglaonema is that I sprayed them down with neem oil spray, so you can see that they have a little bit of a shine. Let me know in the comment section what you think about Aglaonema White Paradise. This is amazing, and hopefully it acclimates to my space very soon. So the next Aglaonema I'm showing you is called Aglaonema Miss World. So here's the thing, plant foldies. I will tell you a little tidbit about me. Being a proud Filipino American, if you don't know about Filipinos, we love our beauty pageant. So whether it is Miss Universe, Miss Grand International, I actually caused this scene actually when I was at PlantCon 2025 in Dallas. You need to check out my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, at Growfold, and you can see my reel where I was just throwing a hot mess fit about Miss Universe, or not Miss Universe, Miss Philippines winning Miss Grand International while I was at PlantCon. So congratulations to Emma Tiglao. That is a back-to-back win for the Philippines. But anyways, this is a really cool Aglaonema right here because I love the name. Like, I love the name. It is called Aglaonema Miss World, and you can see right here, this is such a cute Aglaonema and it's super full. I have to ask again, plant foldies, can you believe that these Aglaonema travel 10,000 miles from Indonesia all the way to Dallas, Texas for me to pick up at PlantCon, and now they're potted up in a soil substrate. They look super healthy. And again, this is a reason why I would encourage trying getting plants from overseas. I'm just really lucky that I was able to get, beautiful Aglaonema. And so this PlantCon haul is a little bit more of a unique PlantCon haul because who does an Aglaonema plant haul, right? Most people are doing other hauls, and there's no shade or anything like that. You love what you love. I love what you love. I love, and that's Aglaonema. Please join me as I try to hashtag popularize Aglaonema. Let me know what you think about Aglaonema Miss World. Look at the pink stems right here. And if you really look, and the lighting's not going to do, the back of it also has some unique veining on the leaves. So this one had a couple of yellowing leaves, but for me, I feel like if I just give it some tender love and care, make sure not to overwater it, make sure that I'm giving it ample amount of bright indirect light like this grow light, then Aglaonema Miss World is definitely going to be Miss World in my plant collection. So let me know what you think, plant foldies. So plant foldies, this one right here is going to look similar to the last two Aglaonema. Take a look at this. Do y'all see what I'm showing you? Do y'all see what I'm showing you? This is called Aglaonema White Moon. It is absolutely stunning, and look at how massive this is. It's like pretty big, right, plant foldies? And so for me, Aglaonema White Moon, this one is a beautiful Aglaonema, and just look at the veining of this particular Aglaonema. There's a fly that just flew over it, but you can see right here, look at how beautiful this veining is on this Aglaonema. Really love this one as well, and I just love how it's got beautiful veining. I love the white stems on it, white stem Aglaonema. And this one is also just potted up in soil right now. I figured that it can just acclimate quickly, but as you can see right here, this is the Aglaonema White Moon. You can see, look at just how beautiful that is right here. The thing about Aglaonema, the one thing that I end up worrying a little bit about is sometimes the actual bottom rots off, and so if that happens, you can still keep the stump and you'll just have to repropagate the actual plant. That's really me being transparent. As beautiful as these Aglaonema are, and this plant haul that I'm showing you, hopefully you find it really pretty. Hopefully you will also learn that acclimation period. Again, especially with Aglaonema, you don't want to overwater them. So I just lightly water their soil. I probably will not water their soil for another week or two. I really want the soil to dry out completely. And as far as just the lighting, just making sure that you are giving them the best lighting. So bright indirect light for me. And then you can just see right here, this is the Aglaonema White Moon. This one is actually more of a pricey Aglaonema, but I mean, it is definitely worth it. It does get really large. I mean, this is a really large Aglaonema. And to me, like I said, again, it is all about getting plants that you love. I am just really happy that I can share my plant haul. I haven't done like a full-on face on, I mean, you can see my face right here, plant haul about these Aglaonema. So again, feel free to follow Art Garden Flowers on Instagram. They have artgardenflowers.us, which is their website, and be prepared to actually buy the book, The Jewel of Indonesia, which is basically the Aglaonema book that I kind of showed earlier. But if you have any questions about some of the plants that I'm featuring, definitely leave in the comment section, especially if you are interested in getting plants. Leave me a direct message on Instagram. Again, I am willing to help you out, but as you can see right here, look at how beautiful this is. Now this Aglaonema that I'm showing you looks very similar, but the name is quite interesting. This is called Aglaonema Green COVID. I don't know if this Aglaonema was like actually created during the pandemic, but as you can see right here, I mean, look at these leaves. It's so amazing. And look at how large it is. And then the white stems, y'all, the white stems. Let me know what you think about Aglaonema green COVID. What I will tell you about Aglaonema green COVID is it's definitely making me sick in a good way. I'm more addicted to Aglaonema. I mean, how do you not love Aglaonema, right? This is Aglaonema green COVID. So again, as far as the Aglaonemas that I'm featuring today for my plant haul, just know that you just have to be really careful with just over watering them. They would do better actually just not being watered often and just bright indirect light. So if you are enjoying these types of plant hauls, I mean, you can see right here, I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up right here. Look at that. Look at this, plant foldies. What do y'all think about my Aglaonema haul, my PlantCon 2025 Dallas plant haul? Again, I do want to thank everybody that has tuned in to watch my plant haul today. Hopefully you can see the unboxing, you can see my interactions and just my care tips for getting plants from overseas whenever you go to PlantCon, for instance, or any plant show. Know that these plants are hopefully going to do well in my plant care. I'm definitely going to give you guys a little bit of an update. So if you haven't considered joining my YouTube membership tier, definitely consider joining it so you can get more plant updates. I have just enjoyed giving you guys my plant haul. Again, definitely share the love. Definitely follow Art Garden Flowers. Live with Plants, my friend Sarut, who got me this amazing plant right over here, and actually Prop and Grow as well. You can get plants. So if you can't, if you're not considering getting plants from overseas, you can still go order plants from Prop and Grow. You can see right over here. You can still order this. They can ship it. This is that Aglaonema White Romance. I have had an amazing plant haul, share, show and tell, whatever you want to call it. And if you like this type of content, again, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. Consider joining my YouTube membership tier if you have any questions about the plants. And special thanks again to PlantCon International for choosing me as a creative collective content creator. More PlantCon content is going to show up. And if you haven't, you can also check out my playlist, which has all of my PlantCon footage ranging back from last year. My name is Richie at Growfold, and this is my plant haul 2025 for Dallas, Texas PlantCon. I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Bye.